Let's go. You are now listening to Jason Anderson, and you are in the.
Yeah, man. I mean, he's getting close. He's chomping at the bit to get back out there, and but he's got to visit with the doctors and make sure that he gets clearance there. And so, but I think I'd probably say he's getting close. I can't give you a date. I don't know a date on it, but he says he feels great. So.
Sterling, just like college, Bill Belichick can't get you a date. So, sorry about that, man. Oh, that's about Hollywood Brown. That was Hollywood Brown, Sterling. That had nothing to do with you. My bad.
I mean, you're not wrong, but that didn't need to take the shot on an early Thursday.
See?
Wow.
You were already flustered, but you had a lot going on.
You know
today.
why?
You're finished. You're
because
closing
I
on a
couldn't
house.
get the date right.
See? Boom. There you go. Closing on a house this morning. You got a lot of stuff going on in your life.
That was so clever of me, and no one got that.
No, I
said
it.
Tuesday. I pretended it was a different type of date.
You did pretend. That was right. You pretend.
But it was good. It was good reaction time, is what it was.
I was gonna say Dylan and I are gonna have to pretend we believe you. I don't think that's the case. It is a Thursday. Sterling Holmes hanging out with us. Jason Anderson, Dylan Michaels in the zone on this Thursday edition. A lot of stuff to get into and talk about today. We'll talk some NFL football. We'll talk some college football / NFL football. We'll play some sports or leisure today in the 1 o'clock hour.
Fact.
We will hear from the Chiefs at about 11:45. Coordinators, Dave Tobe, Steve Spagnuolo, Matt Nagy, Chris Jones. We were going to hear from Trey Smith yesterday. He was under the weather, so they said we will hear from him today. So Trey Smith coming up today in the 11 o'clock early noon hour. We'll hear from them. 913-912-4810. We'll talk a little Major League Baseball. Rumors at the winter meetings going on involving the Royals, what it may be, what they might be looking at, what the payroll might be. We'll talk a little bit about that as the show progresses. 913-912-4810. Thursday Night Football right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB with Rams and 49ers tonight at 7:15. 6:30, a little Westwood One pregame. And you can check that out right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Also, 103.7 on the FM dial that we have now connected with, working with Cumulus for a while in getting this put together, and now having an FM dial that people can listen to. We are still and will always be Sports Radio 810 WHB, a big fabric of this community, a big piece of the sports world and community of Kansas City. And that will remain as Sports Radio 810 WHB, but now offering the FM side an outlet, a choice at 103.7 that you can listen into. And I've been going back and forth and listening into 810 and 103.7, driving around and checking it out and things like that. So that is now an option for those that may not have.
An extension.
Yes, that's right.
810.
We've extended it. That's exactly right. It's just it's a contract. We've done what the Kansas Jayhawks did with Jalen Daniels. They have come to an agreement and an extension for at least a year for him to return to KU and for us to have 103.7. So we're pumped and excited about it. And for those that, I don't know, may not have an AM dial, or maybe the AM dial doesn't work as well. And I had an older car for a long time, and the AM dial was a little rough. So I would just listen to it on my phone all the time. Now you've got that FM outlet as well at 103.7. So we're pumped about that and excited about it to continue to try to give you as many different outlets and ways to listen to the station that has been the favorite, the best, the most powerful station in the world. At least in the United States. I have no idea if there are more powerful stations in Russia. Maybe there are. I'm not sure. But certainly in the United States, the most powerful all-sports radio station in the country is Sports Radio 810 WHB. 913-912-4810 is the text line to join us. Let's get into the show. We talked about it yesterday when it became official. The press conference will take place today in Chapel Hill. That Bill Belichick will be the head coach of North Carolina, and he will be taking over that football program. We only know of one staff member at this time. We know the Bible, that the 400-page Bible, whatever it was, that they talked about. We know that there are certainly rumors and discussions of this being a part of a, quote, coach in waiting for his son Steve, who's been the defensive coordinator at UW for the past couple of years. The expectation is that North Carolina nor Bill Belichick will call it a, quote, coach in waiting. They won't use that term because that has negative connotations attached to it. That has people assuming, myself included, that this would be a way to open the door for his son that go and coach there for a couple of years and then hand it over. Get everything set and in place. All of the structure, all of the front office, executive level things of running a college football program, all of that for a couple of years with Bill Belichick in charge of it, and then hand it over turnkey to his son to give him the best opportunity to succeed with all of that up and running with NIL and NIL money and a general manager and Michael Lombardi. That's the only one that has been announced so far, is that Michael Lombardi will join Bill Belichick as the general manager there at North Carolina. And by the way, he will be one of, many, as in like every school has a general manager these days. I mean, that's what they've done. They have hired GMs at all these different universities. Kansas has a GM. Mizzou's got a GM. Andrew Luck just went back to Stanford to be the general manager for player personnel. Whatever you want to call it, describe it. There are different ways of labeling what is essentially a general manager at the college ranks because you're handling NIL, you're handling contracts, you're handling extensions, you're handling guys coming in and wanting a raise. You're doing all of that stuff. Andy Reid says, Veach handles all of that stuff. You go into Bill Belichick and ask for a raise, and Lombardi handles all that. You got to go ask Lombardi about that, all right? What I'm asking is, if I quit the team, will my mom still get to keep her job in the house? I think you should be at practice tomorrow, Tony. Oh, no, that was Penny Hardaway. That was Penny Hardaway.
Yeah.
That's what it was. No, Tony was the one that shaved points. Tony was my guy. He was my guy. Tony shaved points. That was disappointing. He took the most pure thing in his life, and he corrupted it. I need to go watch Blue Chips today. That's what I need to go is watch Blue Chips today because that was back in the day. That was all illegal. You got a dude giving like $30,000 in a gym bag and a tractor. You got a house. You got Neon Bodo. Didn't even want a car. Gave him a Lexus. Didn't even want the car. Gave him a Lexus. Gave a kid a house, a job. Ricky Rowe. And that was the great Petey Bell went to the dark side and paid the players. And now you got to hire a GM to make sure that you can keep track of all of these things. But there are varying opinions on this with Bill Belichick and what it's going to mean for him in college football and if it's going to be successful, what it means to North Carolina. I've got different views on all of those. What it means to North Carolina and what it means to Bill Belichick. Why North Carolina would do it, why Bill Belichick would do it. Let's start with the Bill Belichick side, and then we'll get into, I think there is a connection to Andy Reid here. So we'll get into that a little bit and what it could mean for Andy Reid in the next 3, 4, 5, 6 years as head coach of the Kansas City Chiefs, if he wants to coach that long, if he will coach that long, and why I believe there's a better chance of him coaching that long with the decision that Bill Belichick made over the course of this week. Let's start with we'll start with Bill Belichick's side of it, why Bill Belichick made the decision that he did. I was going back and forth on this, and then I read Seth Wickersham's piece at ESPN that he dropped this morning on a lot of reporting on what was going on behind the scenes. And I'm going to give you some quotes here from that I wrote down that really stood out to me. Bill Belichick, these are different confidants, people around Bill Belichick. These are quotes that were used in this extended, reporting by Seth Wickersham. Disgusted with what the NFL had become. This is a big FU to the league. He's tired of the stupidness of the NFL. Somebody else saying he needs the NFL more than the NFL needs him. I start to read those, and I get even more skeptical of Bill Belichick's success at North Carolina. Yeah. One of the things in business and any job or career, do not run from something. Run to something. No, I'm taking that job because I hate the job I have right now. It's just like any job just to get away from that job. Well, you currently have a job, so you do have some leverage to find a job that you would want. Maybe it is maybe it's untenable. Maybe it's just a relationship can't be done, and it's either quit or take this other job. All right, I'm going to take this other job until I find one that maybe I want. But running from something instead of running to something, typically, more times than not, and I would say the high majority percentage, does not work out. This feels like when you hear from confidants of Bill Belichick that are relaying his feelings around the NFL right now. This feels like he's going, oh yeah, NFL? I'll show you. I'm going to go to college, and I'm going to kick ass in college to show you what you're missing. 7 job openings this last year, and only 1 team was interested. I interviewed twice, and they still said no. Bleep you. I'm going to college, and I'll show you guys there that I'm a hell of a coach. I'm going to turn this program around. I'm going to show you that I can win there, and what you guys are missing, harumph. That's the way it comes off to me in reading this, right? Is there any other way to sort of view this when you hear he's tired of the stupidness of the NFL?
Which what does that even mean?
They don't want him.
When college football has all these new rules and everything's changing, and I think NIL
100%.
and you look at the portal, I think the majority of folks would say that's the stupidity of college football. What in the bleep is he talking about in the NFL? Is he talking about rules? Is he talking about
the way
certain kickoffs? Like what?
Not being able to hit players. Any of this is stupid. What I gleaned from it and inferred was the stupidness of the NFL and how teams build their teams, or how owners and GMs go about drafting, how dumb owners are when he's had conversations with them. Essentially, how dumb they are for not hiring him.
Well, because he wants both. He wants to be GM and head coach, which traditionally did not work out very well, especially towards the end when he did not have Tom Brady, and you looked at the roster that was devoid of talent. This happens so many times. Bill O'Brien, I'm not comparing Bill O'Brien necessarily to Bill Belichick, but Bill O'Brien was a really good head coach. And then he got GM duties and was ass. Bill Belichick was both. At the very end, when Brady was gone, what happened? That roster was ass. It's too much work for one man.
Yeah, I think there's also, you bring up Bill O'Brien, I think it's an interesting pull in that he has some friends that are in the college ranks. His son is a defensive coordinator at Washington. Bill O'Brien's been coaching in college for a number of years at different stops. Penn State, now Boston College. So he's had coordinators. Charlie Weiss was a coordinator that left and had a clear, decided schematic advantage over the rest of the country when he took over at Notre Dame and then ultimately Kansas, and was incredibly successful at both of those stops. If you're not a Kansas or a Notre Dame fan, like you thought he was one of the best coaches that I certainly thought in Kansas history. I was mad they fired him. I didn't know why they did that. I thought
of all the coaches in KU football history, he sure was one.
He was one of them. That's right. He's one of them. He had that decided schematic advantage to allow the other team to win. It was really cool that he did that. But it comes off totally as all right, fine. You don't want me. I'm leaving you. And where's the place I can go to leave you? Well, I can go to college. Bill O'Brien's there. I've talked with him. My son's there. I've talked with him. One of my best friends is Nick Saban. I've had a long conversation with him. Which is what's sort of interesting to me is he's close with Nick Saban. And Nick Saban finally said, I'm done with the BS. I can still win at a high level, but I'm not doing all this stuff, man. I'm not going out and re-recruiting. I'm not doing all the NIL stuff. I've won national championships, okay? I know how it was in the college ranks. And I know the difficulties now of doing this. So I don't think Bill Belichick is going into this thinking, oh my God, I had no idea what it was like. I don't think Bill Belichick will ever go into something without doing his research and being fully comfortable with the decision. Doesn't mean he's not running from something. It means that while he's taking this job, he will be informed of what the challenges are ahead of him at North Carolina and in the college ranks. We'll see what his coaching staff is going to be. We know that Michael Lombardi is going to be the GM. What I take from this is that, the NFL didn't want his style anymore. All the openings that were there, and they chose something different. Is his style going to work in college? I mean, I've got real questions about that too. My guess is no. I said Deion Sanders, when he got to Colorado, would be there for 2 years, and then he would go somewhere else. Maybe 3 at the most, but 2 years and go somewhere else. Either he would be fired because it was a disaster and he was false bravado and fake sort of machismo, or it would be so successful he'd get a job at a bigger program or the NFL.
Yeah.
It's more likely to be the latter there, but he also may return for a third year. With his sons not being there, Travis Hunter not there, this would be the perfect time for him to jump to the NFL. I have the same feeling about Bill Belichick, but for me, it's a couple of reasons. One, I don't think it's going to work.
No.
And two, I think he wants to set something up for his son. I think this is about trying to get his son is in college.
Sure.
He likes the college ranks. He's visited Washington a number of times with his son and watched practices and gotten to know the coaching staff. And so he's got an idea of what it's like in college. But this guy didn't have to go out on the recruiting trail in the NFL. He went and scouted for the draft. And then when you went and took the guy, that guy had no choice but to go to your team. He's going to visit 50 kids, and 2 of them may choose to go to him. That's how it works.
But what I will say, because I think this is gonna, I don't think it's gonna work. At least early on, I don't think it's gonna work. But I'm sure him in North Carolina, if he has his son in the game plan going forward, I'm sure UNC knows about this. And the way I think it could potentially build correctly, he's gonna get some recruits because he's Bill Belichick. I don't think he gets as many as maybe folks might think he will because of Bill and holding the NFL rings. These kids are saying, yeah, that works in the NFL. We'll see how it works in college. There are going to be some reservations about that. Understood. But he'll probably get some. All he's trying to do, let's just say it's even 3 years. I know it's a 5-year contract. We'll see. Build a building block for his son who's younger, probably hungrier, can go do more of the actual...
Knows what it's like to be on the recruiting trail.
Knows what it's like to be on the recruiting trail.
His son's a recruiter for Washington.
So all you're really hoping, if you're a UNC fan, I don't think you care about Bill Belichick necessarily and what this UNC team looks like in 3 years, as long as it's starting to trend in the correct direction. Because, again, I think we all understand... Maybe we're wrong and maybe someone else takes over and this thing just goes down in flames. But if you can just start trending the right way, up the roller coaster, right? And then all of a sudden his son takes over with a building in place, a game plan in place, then I think you actually could be saying that entire Bill Belichick situation worked out well. You could talk about how it was the right decision to bring him in. I just don't see Bill Belichick being there 5+ years even finishing out the 5-year contract.
So I want to talk about why North Carolina did this, and then I want to get into reasons why I don't think it'll work. And we've touched on a couple of those here. My assumption on North Carolina doing this, to me, is twofold. One, they're trying to tap into the Deion Sanders prime, Colorado, what's gone there. You get the publicity, and then the recruits follow the publicity.
Yes.
You get the coolness of it, and then the recruits follow. Whether that's misguided, which I think is, or not, I think that's part of the strategy. That's one. The second one is we know that North Carolina wants to leave the ACC. We know they want out. So how much of this is also North Carolina going, hey, SEC and Big Ten, we're big boys. We're playing big boy football. We went out and paid a lot of money for Bill Belichick, and we increased our NIL fund from $6 million to $20 million overnight by signing Bill Belichick. Now, that will help him be successful.
Agreed.
That's a big part of it. So you got Lombardi as the GM.
Or Lombardi being successful.
But still, it will help him overall as a coach. The better players you get in there. I do believe Bill Belichick can still coach football at a high level. All right, I think he's still a damn fine football coach. He hasn't shown to be an amazing coach without Tom Brady, but I do trust his football knowledge, intelligence, game plan, scheming, things like that.
The defense will be good.
Yes.
They will not give up 7.
Yeah.
You know what I'll say right now? They won't give up 70 points to James Madison like they did last year.
I would agree with that.
You know, I think
that's probably right.
I think I can agree with that one.
That's probably right. I think that North Carolina makes a statement to the SEC and the Big Ten of, hey, when you're looking for expansion, which will come when we can finally get out of the ACC, we're serious about this. We're paying our football coach. Yeah, we went down the Mac Brown route. All right, it worked for a little bit, but didn't ultimately work. This guy's, as old as Mac Brown, but it's a little different. We're paying this money. We're playing big boy football. Okay, SEC, we're not just a basketball school that's dabbling in football. We are a ACC big-time program that's investing in the football program to also show you we're a viable candidate from the football side. And SEC, you're awesome in basketball. we got North Carolina as well,
That's
and
the
we're going to
one
bring the
positive.
football part of it too because we're serious now. I think that's North Carolina's standpoint.
Yeah.
It's like the Angels signing Albert Pujols.
Sure.
What a terrible contract. Right. But the Angels needed to tap into the Latin market that the Dodgers controlled forever
Yeah.
in Southern California. So can we tap into the Latin market? How do we do that? We go get Pujols.
And sell tickets.
Right, but we're going to overpay for Pujols. Oh, we're going to get the Japanese market. We're bringing in Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah.
All right? There are different reasons for teams to sign, trade for, hire different people. I think the bigger reason for North Carolina here is that expansion has been on their mind for a while. How do we continue to make ourselves a candidate that is attractive to others? We haven't been good enough at football. Have we spent enough in football? Well, we went and got a retread in Mac Brown. Well, now we're serious. We're going and restructuring our entire program
Sure.
with Bill Belichick. I think that's the North Carolina side of it.
As far as it actually working,
Yeah, that's the next step.
my one question, this is different, okay? This is completely different from teams and obviously coaching-wise. But you're right, Kate, you tried the Charlie Weiss route. They
lot of
tried
teams
the Les Miles route. He won a ring, and a lot of those guys think players are going to come flock to me.
Arizona State
because,
got Herm Edwards because of this.
Yes, and what happened?
He got Jaden Daniels, but he couldn't keep him.
Yeah. But that's one of my questions is, do we overvalue? It worked for Dion, but Dion also had one of his son being one of the best, if not the best quarterbacks
Right.
in college football. That helps.
Yeah.
Bill Belichick's son isn't in college actually playing football and is one of the best. So, how good would Colorado have been without Shedeur Sanders
Right. Or Travis Hunter.
or Travis Hunter?
And that to me is the difference with Dion and Bill Belichick and Charlie Weiss or Herm Edwards or Bill Callahan at Nebraska that was going to bring a new age offense to Nebraska
Yep.
and change things up. Deion Sanders went to Jackson State and coached for 3 years there. He was 4-3 his first year in COVID, then 11-2 and 12-1, and he got Travis Hunter to go to Jackson State and to decommit from Florida State to go to Jackson State, the number one player in the country. Travis Hunter is going to win the Heisman. He played his first year at Jackson State because of Dion, because of Prime. He got his son to go to Jackson State and play there. They went from 4-3 to 11-2 to 12-1. Jackson State's record the previous years, going from the most recent year before, 4-8, 5-5, 3-8, 3-8, 3-8, 5-7. Dion took over, 4-3, 11-2, 12-1. He turned that program around quickly. Got the job at Colorado.
Yeah.
Knows what it's like to recruit. And there is no comparison between how cool and what it's like to be around Prime as a high school recruit and Bill Belichick, a known curmudgeon introvert that doesn't get along with his players.
Sure.
Where's the coolness there? It's cool to be they don't have Colorado hoodies. They've got Prime hoodies. It just says Prime on it. That's the head coach. Nobody's walking around with an Eli Drinkwitz hoodie, a Lance Leipold or a Chris Kleiman hoodie. Nobody's doing that. Nobody's walking around with a Nick Saban hoodie. It's not nobody's. Well, North Carolina will have the cutoff hoodie. Sorry, they will have the cutoff sleeve hoodies at North Carolina for Bill Belichick.
That would be pretty cool.
Chapel Bill is what they're calling it right now.
Oh, okay. You know what? It's gonna work. Chapel Bill, are you serious?
Right.
I'm all the way in.
But
you know what? I've changed my tune. This is gonna work.
But Prime was different in that he had coached high school.
Yeah.
He had coached, was it Prime Prep that eventually fizzled and dissolved? Then he coached Jackson State. Now he's at Colorado. Colorado hired a guy who was already a college coach and had been recruited and got the number one player in the country to go to Jackson State.
Yeah.
Now how's he going to do at Colorado? Well, he's turned that program around.
Huge
Damn
credit,
near
huge
made
credit, by
the Big
way.
12 championship
yeah,
game.
huge credit because this year was.
It started off rough with the loss to Nebraska, and it's like, okay, here we go. Same song, different year. This might be the last year for Prime. Travis Hunter's going to be gone. Shedor's going to be gone. And if they don't perform well, and they turned it around, and they damn near played in a Big 12 championship game.
Good for
They were
Prime. I
close.
mean, he clearly can do it in the college ranks.
But we've seen this before where a coach comes in and goes, no, I've been watching from the outside, so I know what to do. Again, I mentioned Charlie Weiss, decided schematic advantage. Herm Edwards went to Arizona State and said, we're going to build this thing with a new model. I'm going to be like a CEO I'm going to be the head coach over. I don't need to be recruiting or anything. I'm just going to be the head coach. I don't need to be offensive side even. I'm just going to be the head coach.
I'm just going to be here and get paid while everyone else does everything else.
We're going to run this like an NFL program, right? Those things haven't necessarily worked. And Bill Belichick goes on the Pat McAfee show and says, if I was in a college program, the college program would be a pipeline to the NFL for the players that had the ability to play in the NFL. Okay, it would be a professional program, training, nutrition, scheme, coaching, and techniques that would transfer to the NFL. It would be an NFL program at a college level. And here's what every coach across the country is going, oh my God, Bill, what a great idea. Hold on, you're saying here at Georgia we could have training and nutrition and scheme and coaching and a professional program to get these guys at the NFL? Who would have thought of such a thing? Oh, my God. Alabama, Kalen DeBoer is like, hey, Nick Saban, what a dumbass. We're actually going to start. Bill Belichick said this, so we're going to start training and nutrition and scheming for these guys to get the NFL. We're going to have these crazy weight rooms. We're going to have these awesome amenities for these players. This is going to be Clemson. Oh, my God, North Carolina's in the ACC with Bill Belichick now. They're going to run this like it's going to be like a pipeline to the NFL for players. Oh, my. What, mind blown. Every other college is already doing this, except they're steps ahead of the game already because they've been doing it for years. You're not going to walk into North Carolina and go, hey, kid, we're running an NFL program here. And then they go to Alabama and they go, hey, kid, we've been running an NFL program here. Clemson, we've been running an NFL program here. Of course, the NIL ain't going to be there at Clemson, as we know, with Dabo. NIL is the big one. You pay enough. You get the players.
Look at BYU basketball.
Yeah.
You pay enough, you get the players.
What we don't know is if he can take college kids and turn them into pros. We know he can take pros and turn them into pros because literally everybody he's coached in the NFL is an NFL player. But can he turn college kids into NFL players? I don't know. It's a different beast. And sitting in somebody's living room as the head coach, not just an assistant coach here, assistant coach there, sitting in somebody's living room and recruiting, being the, curmudgeon introvert that, is like, well, whatever. Let's play this clip real quick before we take a break. This was funny. This was Sunday when the news came out about Bill Belichick and maybe being interested in North Carolina. This was on the Fox pregame show. Julian Edelman, Tom Brady, Rob Gronkowski were sitting at the desk and was asked about Bill Belichick coaching at North Carolina if it would work.
Can you imagine him coaching college?
No.
Absolutely not.
Recruiting an 18-year-old? You really want to come here? I mean, we don't really want you anyway, but I guess you could come. We'll figure out if you play.
If you bring your parents and use them as a third party, you're gone. You're off the team. We're direct.
Some scar tissue built up here amongst these guys.
Those were his best players, by the way. Those are some of his best players that he coached for years that are poking fun at his personality, dealing with the best players on his team. What would Patrick and Travis and those guys say about Andy? It's a different deal. It's a different relationship. All right? We'll see. We'll see if it works, but this ain't prime at Colorado. This to me sounds and feels more like some of these other coaches we've seen go from the NFL to college and not succeed. And it feels a whole lot like I'm going to get everything in place, structure, build, organize, and hand it over to my son, and he can take over so I can get back to the NFL where I really want to be. I want to be in the NFL. This is not a bleep the NFL. This is a bleep the NFL for not wanting me. I hate you, NFL, because I love you. I'm pissed off and I'm leaving you because I want to stay with you, but you don't want me.
Sounds like a Taylor Swift song.
I didn't have another out. Sorry, we should have just gone to break. Try it again.
Sounds like a Taylor Swift song.
All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB, 913-912-4810. Text coming in. Text says, sounds to me like he's trying to turn North Carolina into the college-level IMG Academy. Could be. I think Prime was closer to doing that when he got to Colorado, only that's worked, again, because it's cool. You know what I mean? Like,
and also worked is also a very
right.
I don't mean
if it
to
failed this year, if they were 2-10 this year as well, it wouldn't be as cool to go to Colorado anymore.
No, but even with what they did, was it 8-4 this year?
Yeah,
a great season for them, and the turnaround's been outstanding. But let's not act like they went 10-2 in the college football playoffs.
Right.
Like, it worked, but this was also with maybe the best quarterback in college football.
And the Heisman Trophy winner.
The Heisman Trophy, or one or two. With like, if we're being 100% frank, like.
Can I still be Garth?
I knew you were going to do something. No, you're Chris Gaines now.
By the way, shout out to everybody that got that one. Thank you. Dylan, you like that?
I liked it, yeah. I couldn't think of something, and that was perfect.
Anyway, Tex says, nepotism always works out well. Tex says, he probably talked to his girlfriend to see what college life is like. There it is.
That's what Bill Belichick loves about those colleges.
Are we sure he's not taking the UNC job to get his girlfriend free tuition?
I'm guessing there's some clause in these contracts where they couldn't just fire Bill and then, okay, we also fire Steven as well, like right after Bill.
Yeah, it's like
if they had to, because that's the thing is like it's great if he's a good coach, but if he stinks and like the program's terrible, and they also wrote in that when you fire him or when he's gone, his son then takes over.
Well, that's going to be, if that's in the contract, that'll be a public record. And so if that's public record, then we'll see. They're saying there is not a, quote, coach in waiting. So if it's not in the contract, it's like, hey, you fire my son, I'll sue you. Sue me for what? It's Rocky V, you know?
Right.
Touch me, punk, and I'll sue. Fire Steve and I'll sue you. Sue me for what? There's no contract that says he's coach in waiting. You're both gone. You're out.
Right.
Thank you for setting up all the structure. We're going to go get this, this guy at a lower level Power 5 and bring him in and coach here because we're going to the Big Ten.
He
or
did
the
it
SEC.
in New England, right? Because he had Mayo in the contract written in, like when he retired or left.
I don't remember if that was.
He had
I'll be honest with you.
He had a lot more leverage at the time. In that
But remember that there was a whole
Belichick
thing that
also
came
didn't
out
like
that
him. I mean, at that point, Belichick, like people like the Belichick Kraft.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you. Belichick didn't like Belichick. He hates himself sometimes. No, Kraft and Belichick didn't seem like they got along. I mean, there were the reports that Kraft was the one undermining Belichick's interviews with some of these NFL teams, and then we see the dynasty come out, and it.
That was a Kraft production, by the way.
If you want to talk about downplaying somebody's impact on a dynasty, that was that documentary was trying to downplay Bill Belichick's impact on that dynasty as much as possible. Obviously, Bill Belichick didn't think that would be the case.
Well, no, not for the bad parts of the dynasty.
No,
they definitely wanted his.
It's a good point.
Input on
they
those.
Definitely brought up the issues with Aaron Hernandez and Bill Belichick saying, why are we cutting this guy? I mean, he's arrested for murder, but why are we cutting this guy? Why are we releasing him? Isn't he supposed to be at practice later on? Can we post bail? I'm
thankfully
clearly
the hero,
exaggerating here.
But thankfully, the hero Jonathan Kraft
no
came in and made sure the right
Spygate.
move was made.
How dare you spy?
Yeah,
we'll take
right.
the wins
So
and the rings, but how dare you? How dare you deflate the ball?
But certainly, honestly,
okay.
I don't remember the particulars with Belichick and Gerard Mayo. So if he was there in the coach in waiting, then you know
I could be completely wrong, but I thought there was some
Mayo
writing.
seems like a Kraft favorite too. Like Kraft had some favorites. Unfortunately for him, one
Mayo,
of those Aaron Hernandez,
ketchup, mustard.
That's right. But
Kraft mac and cheese.
In a random sort of.
Is he the mac and cheese family?
No.
Real estate.
No, he's real estate. He just grew up a Patriots fan.
He's not a mac and cheese. He's not the mac and cheese guy?
No, he's not.
That's way less cool.
The Hunts are not the ketchup family.
What?
I know the Heinz are. Hunts are not. Okay.
No, that would have been a real rivalry. That's a real ketchup rivalry.
No,
right there.
Kraft is living out like everybody's dream. You grew up a fan of a team, going to games,
Well,
you become a billionaire, and then you buy that team.
Part of what he's done is it would not be part of my dream.
Yeah. I mean, owning an NFL team.
No. Parts of Robert Kraft.
Oh, I get it. Absolutely. Yeah, I don't know the relationship with Mayo, if that was. It certainly seemed like at the time, like, hey, if Belichick moves on, Mayo seems to be the most likely candidate to take over. I'm not sure, but some of those texts coming in, those are pretty good about the his girlfriend getting free tuition at North Carolina. Let me also drop this, and then I want to get to the Andy Reid impact here. His first marriage, didn't work out because a lot of marriages don't work out in football and coaching. It's just so much time commitment, and that was part of it. He's had a lot of free time to spend with the young girlfriend. I'm just saying, now he's a head coach in college.
She told him to get a job.
I don't know that that's the case.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think what Jason's saying is that the other side wanted to get a job.
Yeah, maybe wanted to get a job, and once he starts working and those hours kick in, we'll see how long that lasts. We'll see how long the 24, 25-year-old is like, yeah, I saw him for 20 minutes today, and I saw him for 20 minutes 2 days ago, and now he's out recruiting here.
She also might be looking for that. That also might be the perfect.
Touche. She's at Chapel Hill.
Yeah,
It's a grad student right there. Anyway, 913-912-4810. What's the impact with Andy Reid? We'll take a break, come back, talk about that next. All right, so I want to connect what happened with Bill Belichick in North Carolina to Andy Reid and the Kansas City Chiefs. And what I'm saying is that Andy Reid's going to take a coaching job in college very soon.
Duke.
That's what I'm saying. That's
He's going to
obviously
Duke.
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
No, but Bill Belichick had talked about Don Shula's record for a long time. Like, he's an NFL historian. Catching Don Shula was a big motivation for Bill Belichick. And I think it's part of the frustration with the NFL in not hiring him, because he's getting older and not getting wins. And now he's going to college for a year or two to not get wins. And if Belichick is done coaching in the NFL, which is a decent chance of that happening, if he's fresh off of this long dynastic run and doesn't get job openings, then in 2 years being away from the NFL, coming back, is he going to get an offer then? Like, you're the same guy that we didn't want then. Now you're just older.
Well, it's like the NBA. Age is such a factor in these things. In coaching is somewhat similar. If
He's
you're
72. Now he's 74.
Yeah, it's if that was a concern beforehand, it's now a greater concern him coming back.
So I bring that up because of Belichick sitting at 302, and that's where he'll end at, and with his 31 postseason wins sitting at 333 total for wins, and Don Shula sitting at 328, and with his 19 postseason wins sitting at 347 total, Andy Reid right now is at 270. That puts him 58 behind Don Shula, without having to worry about Bill Belichick passing Don Shula and still chasing somebody for the most wins in NFL history. 58 wins, regular season. If he wins 11 games a year, he would need to coach for 6 years.
Yeah.
If he wins 12 games a year, he would need to coach for at least 5 more years. Now, if you're looking at the all-time overall wins, postseason included, he's 51 behind. Now, 11 a year, you're looking at 5 years. 12 a year, you're looking at 4 and change.
That's
but
still
that's
pretty insane.
Not even counting postseason wins. Like, that's just 11. Excuse me, that is counting postseason wins. Yeah. That's 11 wins a year, including postseason wins, to get to 5. He could get to 347 with postseason wins in 3.5, maybe 4 years. And so what I've talked about before, and what I do think becomes more of a possibility, is that Andy Reid also loves NFL history. I think it would mean a lot to Andy Reid to catch Don Shula and be the winningest coach of all time. And I think the closer he gets, the bigger the carrot is to get there, which is part of the frustration with Belichick, because he's 26 wins away from catching Don Shula. All the coaching Bill Belichick's done in his career, and now it's right there. He could touch it, and the NFL's saying, no, thank you, we don't want you.
I just can't wait for the final game that Andy coaches to break the record, and Brett Favre comes in at quarterback and just throws it.
For the other team, throws an interception?
Just Brett Favre is now the starting quarterback for the opposing team. He's
throws
gonna,
an interception
and then
just so they can win?
Just kneels the entire game so the Chiefs
Makes
win.
Sense.
Yeah.
Makes total sense. Yeah, takes
Don't you
a dive.
think that would make sense? Or?
Yep, takes a dive. Yeah, he does that from, no, I'm sure he wouldn't do it from prison. He's not going to be, it's white-collar crime. Come on.
But no, I actually I get what you're saying, but I think 5 years is too ambitious. I know we all think that's the case, but is there going to be a down year in between? Is there going to be a, when Chris Jones or Kelsey retires?
Well, that would be averaging, though, because averaging 12 wins a year, you know what I mean?
You might get
have
14.
And then you can have a 10.
Yeah.
My point is, if he gets 3 years and he's 20 wins away, is he going to walk away at that point? Or is he going to say, no, I got another couple years in me to catch Don Shula? I think what it does is make it more realistic that Mahomes and Andy Reid connection stays in Kansas City for maybe the next 5 years at least, and maybe more with this move today. Matt Lane next. later on this hour. Dave Tobe, Steve Spagnuolo, Matt Nagy, Chris Jones, Trey Smith will be at the podium, we believe, unless Trey Smith is still under the weather. He couldn't talk yesterday because of that, but expected to hear from him today. Right now, let's talk with Matt Lane, KC Sports Network, KC Laboratory Podcast, joining us here in the zone. Matt, what's up, sir? How are you?
We're doing pretty good. We're out here just collecting 19 to 17 Chiefs victories, and we're feeling good about all the games ending with the final Chiefs field goal.
Well, you know what? Where you are right now, they're out there collecting old NFL head coaches.
Oh yeah, we got the big Billy Goat right down the street from me right now. So we have to look into some season tickets or something.
Yeah.
Can't miss it.
Chapel Bill. Come on, man. Let's see what happens with that. For those that don't know, Matt Lane lives in North Carolina, and so does Bill Belichick now. Lives in North Carolina. Matt Lane, they're just collecting these things. So being outside of the area, Matt, that no doubt that when you're out and about and friends that maybe aren't Chiefs fans and things like that, people probably ask you, come on, Matt, how do they do it? What's your answer when people around town that know you're a Chiefs fan are like, come on, dude, how do they keep doing this, man? What do you say to them besides giggling?
I honestly, at this point, it's gone from trying to. First, it was even over the past couple of years, right? The Chiefs haven't had these same kind of close games, but they have found a way to win a bunch of close games over this entire stretch, as every good team does. So you start out as always trying to explain well, this is why it worked, or hey, they're good in these clutch situations because of coaching and the players are ready for it, X, Y, and Z. Then it just becomes you trolling them a little bit, joking about, oh, they made Taylor Swift is there, so they had to pay these guys, they're spending money, et cetera, et cetera. And now this year you can't do anything but laugh. I mean, you just really can't. And it started when I went to the Panthers game when the Chiefs played the Panthers, and I'm there in the stands, we're hanging out with all the Panthers fans, and they're all saying the same things. How does this keep working? And you can't do anything but laugh because it's not just lucky, but there's luck involved, and the Chiefs are very good at putting themselves in position to be lucky and to capitalize when things break their way, and they do it consistently. And there's skill, there's coaching, there's talent to all of that. But sometimes it just takes a little bit to fall your direction, like a bad kickoff, an errant snap while also having an illegal motion penalty, little things like that you don't control. And at this point, it's just kind of funny.
Well, and also, some of it is people have pointed out the 2022 Minnesota Vikings and winning, 11 games by one score before going into the playoffs, and then they were one and done. And they couldn't get past the divisional round with all of the wins that they had, and they lost a one-score game. And it was see, that's what's going to happen with the Chiefs. They are susceptible to being one and done with all these close wins. And every single team in the playoffs is susceptible to being one and done, no matter who they are. Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, they're susceptible to being one and done. The ball bounces crazy ways sometimes. But they talked about Minnesota in 2022. And then the next year, Minnesota lost a bunch of one-score games. And it was see, this is what's happening. People are looking at this year, Matt, and saying, well, clearly the other shoe is going to drop because you can't keep doing this. But they also aren't looking at last year and saying maybe this year is the progression from losing to Detroit by 1 with the crazy ending in a pick 6. Philadelphia, MVS drops the ball. They lose by 4. Green Bay should have been pass interference. They lose by 8. Buffalo, offsides. They lose by 3. Vegas, 2 different defensive scores, and Aiden O'Connell, not a completed pass after the first quarter. They lose by 6. Those were one-score losses that they had, that certain things didn't go their way. And now they've rattled off all of these one-score game wins along the way. That it shouldn't, overcorrect itself the way that it is done there. But there's not really much acknowledgement of the Chiefs losing a lot of one-score games, close games, where the refs may not have done the Chiefs any favors or things like that get sort of dismissed when we look at why the Chiefs are winning. It's only because of the refs and devil magic. Is this year maybe the flip of they lost, 5-6 games last year by one score, and now they're winning those games?
Well, and even if you look at the current streak right now, it's 15 games. I'm no mathematician, but that goes back beyond just this year, right?
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't even that this is just a single season thing. They were winning one-score games.
Yeah, it started the week after the Raiders.
Yeah.
The week after the Raiders lost, they've won all their one-score games since then.
Right, and so that's what it's been. So, there's a little bit of there's always going to be a balance. And by balance, I don't mean 50% because the Chiefs are a better team than almost every team they play. So, like, their middle ground, their balance, their average in one-score games is going to be higher than 50%. Are they batting currently above that a little bit? Probably. They probably should have lost one of these games where, they get a blocked field goal, which still was coaching, or a play where the snap is bad because of during an illegal snapping shift, whatever it was. And so, should they potentially have lost one of those games? Maybe. Who knows how those fully play out?
Mm-hmm.
But what I will say is, they're always in position. There's a reason that you can be in position to win a bunch of one-score games. If your opponent scores and goes up by only one score or less than one score, but there's 2 minutes left on the clock, you still have to go score. You're still up to your offense to do it. There is a skill, a talent, there's tactical coaching that's going into making sure that you get the ball last, then making sure that the opponent can't be up by multiple scores when you get the ball. There's a lot more that goes into it than just being lucky. So at the end of the day, I don't know if this is the regression to the mean in terms of if you look at a multi-year sample size. All I know is the Chiefs are a good enough team that's well coached, that plays a bunch of different styles of football, or maybe just plays one style of football every single game and it never changes and people adapt to them. But they're going to be in every single game. And when you're in every single game, that means you give the best player in the world a chance to beat you by one score, and that's just what happens. And I don't know why people are surprised that the guy that has been the best player in the NFL for the past half decade is beating them when they give him the ball and the chance to do so.
Yeah, their last 3 wins by one score, they led 20-6, 16-3, and 13-0 at one point in those games. That's not people think of these one-score games and they think of the final possessions and they think there's some scrambling by the Chiefs and having to make this crazy comeback and these miracles. They haven't won a game on a Hail Mary. They haven't won a game where they've been the ones having to have a crazy comeback. Even the game against the Bengals where they had to kick the field goal as time expired, they were down 2, in that fourth quarter. So, their one loss this year, they actually led in the fourth quarter by 5. So people want to talk about they played the Bills and the Bills dominated and beat them by 9. That's the one-score game. It's not a one-score game and they lost because the Bills beat them by 9. Yeah, they led by 5 in the fourth quarter. They didn't make the plays. The Bills did, and a 4th and 2 stop might have been the difference in the entire game, and going down and kicking a field goal and winning that one, and us talking about another one-score game. But that didn't happen because sometimes those things happen in games, Matt, and that game specifically is one that I think connects to what you're talking about in that the Chiefs in these games against the Raiders, against the Panthers, and against the Chargers, they're a more talented team. And they can put their thumb on the scales of the luck. It's not just flipping a coin. It's flipping a weighted coin for the Chiefs. And the game they lost this year, that team also has an ability to put their thumb on the scale because they have Josh Allen. And he made plays when the Chiefs players did not and couldn't get off the field. It's the same thing that the Chiefs have been able to do against lesser teams. The Bills were able to do at home in that matchup. But that's not really talked about from that standpoint. But it goes to what you're saying when, you put yourself in position and you're a talented team and you've been there and you've got really good players, more times than not, you're going to come out with those one-score games. And the one they did not come out with this year, the other team also has that.
Yeah, and that was the same thing. That game was following the exact same blueprint, right? Both teams get a chance to have the ball, but the Bills were winning this game. The Chiefs go down, they make it a 2-point game.
Mm-hmm.
The Bills get the ball back, and okay, there's 8 minutes left. They're going to try to run out the clock. The Chiefs, in their mind, the concept is even if they go down and we can hold them to a field goal, they are not going to be able to take an entire 8 minutes off the clock. We are going to get the ball back with 2 or under minutes left in this game with a chance, as long as it's not a touchdown, to go win this football game. And that's what every other game has been. That's been the exact, essential same game plan. And just in this game, they force a third and 9. Josh Allen converts. They get to a 4th and 2. Mm-hmm. Not only does Josh Allen convert it, he goes on to score the touchdown, right? And that's going to happen eventually. That will probably happen again because eventually the other team will make the play, make the plays that the Chiefs have been making in the rest of them. It's not a luck thing. It's not a random gamble. This is kind of how the Chiefs are playing every single game this year. You look at the games that haven't gone that route, and it's been oh, the Chiefs had a bunch of turnovers, or, oh, the other team, did X, Y, or Z. It's like, this is how every game for the Chiefs has kind of gone, and they did lose a game following the exact same blueprint because there's a player on the other side that can kind of go toe-to-toe with Patrick Mahomes, and he was the one that had the ball last within terms of a real chance to win the game, and he did so. And so that might happen again to the Chiefs this year. It might not. We'll find out. But I imagine you're going to see plenty more football games the Chiefs play that will follow that same exact blueprint where they have their defense out there either trying to hold the other team from getting within one score or hold the other team from staying within one score, and then the Chiefs offense will trot back out there and trust 15 to go win the game yet again. And he's probably going to, and we just have to hear about it again.
It's a great point that you brought up on a lot of people forget about the 3rd and 9 on that final drive for Buffalo. We focus so much on the 4th and 2, but that 3rd and 9, they were in their own territory. There were still 4.5 minutes left to go. And Chris Jones was right there. Chris Jones won his matchup against the right tackle, and another, quarter of a second, I think he's making contact with Josh Allen, and it's a sack. But it wasn't the case because Josh Allen sees that Shakir's open over the middle. Brian Cook is a little late adjusting to get there. It was a heck of a collision right at the first down marker. Credit to Shakir. He hung on to the football. They go down and score the touchdown. I bring that up because against the Chargers, on 2nd down and 9 with 6 minutes to go and the Chargers trailing 16-14, Turk Wharton got there when the Chargers had an open receiver to pick up a first down and maybe more, but they got there in time and Turk sacked Justin Herbert. He couldn't hit the open guy. They hand it off. They kick the field goal. The Chiefs go down and kick a field goal. Maybe it wouldn't have mattered, Matt. Maybe the Chiefs go down and get a touchdown and win if they're trailing, 21-16. Maybe that's the case. Maybe not. But a 3rd and 9, Chiefs almost got a sack, but they didn't, and then the Buffalo Bills score. 2nd and 9, the Chiefs did get the sack and forced a field goal, and the Chiefs go and win. Sometimes it can be as simple as that. You make the play or you don't make the play. Like basketball, we call it all the time. It's a make or miss game. Do you make the shot? Do you don't make the shot? It was an open shot. You did what you could. You put yourself in the best possible position. The ball's in the air. Do you win or do you lose? It's a make or miss game. On 2nd and 9, on 3rd and 9, do you make the play or not? You got a chance to sack the quarterback. Do you do it? Yes or no could be the entire difference in the game.
Yeah, and that's what it is. The Chiefs are going to consistently put their team into position to make these plays. They aren't trying to go out of their way to make sure they blow out teams, and I don't think they're trying to play one-score games. I want to be very clear. I don't think the goal is to play games this tight, but when they do, when games go this way because of, a variety of reasons that we've been talking about for months now, they put their players in position to make the plays. And for the most part, they're making the plays. We can go back to the Bills game and highlight it where whether it was the Chiefs not making plays or them making play, or the Bills making plays, the Chiefs not making plays, it resulted in a loss. You look at every other week, it's the Chiefs players making plays. And defensively or offensively, and it seems like lately, because the defense is starting to struggle, it's been a lot more, okay, defense, hang on just enough so the offense gets the ball last. The offense gets a chance to finally, to win the game, to put it away. And that's the way things are going. And, you can't look me dead in the eye, any fan, and say, I'm not afraid of Patrick Mahomes getting the ball back with, anything over 90 seconds, more or less, whatever it is, and only needing a field goal or even a touchdown to win. You can't look me in the eye and tell me that you don't think he's going to score every single time he's in that situation. If you're an opposing fan, you can cry about luck or talk about, lucky refs, whatever it is. When that happens, when Patrick Mahomes gets the ball back down one score with that much time left, you're going to lose the game. And so, it's just the rest of it kind of is a moot point to me, just because, we know what it is. He's the best player for a reason, and the Chiefs put him in a position to show that as frequently as possible the way they've been playing.
Yeah, I do the sad fans from Reddit, and so I go through all of the Reddit game thread for these opposing teams, which is not great for my mental health. But, I do it. I sacrifice. I sacrifice for the listeners, for the good of the audience is what I do. But in that Bills game, the reaction was, man, Sean McDermott, great call. You don't put the ball in Patrick Mahomes' hands. Go and win it. That was a reaction from a lot of people, right? That was universal. Yeah. What a great call. Put the ball in the hands of your star. Do not let Patrick Mahomes get the ball with a chance to take the lead, whether it's a touchdown or a field goal. And this week with Chargers fans, it was almost universal. When they handed off on 3rd and 16, the Reddit thread blew up with conservative, what are we doing? Bleep Jim Harbaugh. Chiefs are going to go kick a field goal and win the game. This game is over. We had to score a touchdown. What are we doing? Like, it was all, like, consistent. Like, why would you not try to pick up the first down? The 40 seconds and the clock doesn't matter. 15's over there. I've seen this game too many times. It's over. And that's what happened on that. Look, would they have picked up the first down on 3rd and 16 if they'd have thrown it? I don't know. But I know if I'm on the other sideline, Matt, I want my coach to try. I want my coach to be as aggressive as possible, because 15 only needing a field goal, bleep. 15 needing a touchdown, we give ourselves a better chance. I still don't like it, but there was no way by being down by 2 that there was a scoreagami for us to be up by more than 1 score in that situation. So what's the most possible points we can get? I'm passing on 3rd and 16.
Yeah, no, I mean, 100%. I think, getting the ball back. I guess the one concern was how the offensive line had been playing for them. They didn't want to give up another sack and get out of field goal range. So, like, I kind of get, once you give up that first sack, you get to 3rd and 16. I understand the coaching aspect of it, but I also understand from from a fan standpoint being like, we can't do this because, again, we're going to lose. And that wasn't – Chargers fans weren't saying, I'm sure some were, but, like, the general Chargers fan wasn't sitting there going, oh, no, we gave the Chiefs the ball back for them to get lucky or for the refs to save them. It was, I don't want to give Patrick Mahomes the football. And I think that really has to be reiterated over and over again. We talk about luck and teams making mistakes or whatever. Here's the thing. Like, people remember Tiger Woods going into Sundays. Like, how many times was it him playing great, or how many times was the pressure that other players face every week when he's out there next to them in his group with, the entire tournament on the line? So things happen. Pressure builds up when you get in those situations. So whether it's a mistake on a kickoff, whether it's snapping the ball too early, whatever it may be, pressure builds up over time, and you just don't want to give the Chiefs and Mahomes a chance to come from behind with a single score down the stretch, because he has proven throughout his career that he's just really darn good at it.
Matt Lane is our guest, KC Sports Network, kcsn.substack.com, the KC Laboratory Podcast. So we're talking about them finding ways to win, Panthers, Raiders, Chargers. One of those teams being a playoff team. They're 5-1 this year against playoff teams, so it's not like they're only beating non-playoff teams. That's not the case at all. But so I don't want that to be misconstrued in this question here. Are the flaws that they have and the reasons why they're in these close games, are they too big to overcome to win 3 games in 4 weeks, assuming they get the 1 seed? Will the flaws come up and bite them against obviously a playoff team and a good team that would be in the divisional, the championship, or the Super Bowl? Are the flaws too big to overcome in 3 straight games like that?
It's so hard to say. The theory that I'm working on just right now, and just looking at the past couple of weeks and what I've been kind of like pondering this week and trying to tweet about and stuff, I don't know if the Chiefs' flaws are so obvious, so glaring, and they are big. They are big flaws. But when you watch them versus the Raiders, and then you watch them versus the Bills, and then you watch them versus the Ravens, and then you watch them versus, pick a team, the flaws all kind of look the same. Like, when is the last time where the left tackle has looked, way worse than it has any other time? When is the last time the receivers, struggles against man coverage have been significantly worse than another time? It's a flat rate. It's so bad that it's a flat rate no matter who you're going up against. So the fact that the Chiefs keep beating teams despite those flaws showing up week in and week out, I don't know if it gets worse. This week against the Browns is kind of a big test. Myles Garrett, pretty good football player. Chiefs left tackle, not playing particularly well. We don't even really know who it's going to be right now. But can it really be that much worse than what happened against the Raiders, where Kayvon Chason was changing the entirety of the game? I don't know. And I don't think we've seen this year where that's necessarily been the case. We can go back to the Bengals game and talk about Trey Hendrickson, who dominated that game. But again, was it significantly worse than what we saw from Chason in that Raiders? So I don't know. So I think the way the Chiefs' flaws are structured right now and the way this team functions of let's just survive to get to 3rd and 5 or 3rd and 6 and let Mahomes be the best player in the game, and then we'll move down the field. We have the second most plays, or the most plays in the NFL, and the second least amount of drives. We take a lot of plays to make these things happen, but we get there because we can win the majority of our 3rd and 5 to 3rd and 7s. I think they can. I think they can do that no matter who the opponent is. And I think they've kind of proven that all year. So I don't know if the level of their competition changes their output on either side of the ball, really.
Matt Lane is our guest. Andy Reid said that in talking about the pass protection yesterday, let me pull up the quote so I can quote him a little more correctly. Says that talking about the pressure, it's a little more, he's facing a little more pressure this year. It's spread all over. Everyone has a piece. me included, I have to adapt to personnel and what they do best. The Chiefs looked like in that game against the Chargers right before half. Now, the Chargers certainly could be in a prevent defense, more of a generic, basic defense. But the Chiefs got the ball out quickly. Snapped the ball, got the ball out quickly. Quick throw, here's to Travis Kelce. Boom. Quick throw to Xavier Worthy. Quick throw, Noah Gray. Quick throw, Hopkins touchdown. Like, it was get the ball, pass it, or snap, hand it off to Pirine to pick up a first down, things like that. Like, this is going to be a quicker way of going down and scoring. I'm not saying no huddle because we've talked a little bit about that this week. My question to you, Matt, would be maybe not no huddle, but more of those quick rhythm, 2.5 second to throw, get the ball out, short, intermediate, more aligned with the West Coast style while running the football moving forward, because as Andy Reid said, I've got to adapt to the personnel I have. I don't think they've adapted enough to the personnel they have. Their sacks and negative plays typically come on when Patrick Mahomes does a deeper drop back, and they just don't have the offensive line personnel to do that. Do you think we see an adjustment and the Chiefs go, you know what? This is how we do it moving forward. We learned last year against the Raiders on Christmas, and now we persevere and we drive ahead, and it's going to be quick rhythm, run the ball, quick rhythm, and if we feel confident every once in a while, take a shot, but we are going to drive down the field, and if we got to take 7-yard chunks, we'll do that, and we'll run 12 plays and put up 28 points.
Yeah, I'm sure that's very much deep. I mean, it's in the game plan going forward. They've been a team that has thrown the ball quickly a lot of this past 3 seasons, especially this year. And I do think over the past few weeks they've tried to they've gone a little bit more max protect. They've gone a little bit more hard play action to try to get the ball downfield. And so I do think that boosts some of the overall numbers. But they've been a quicker passing team, and I do think they will continue to do that this week especially. But while they're trying to get that tackle situated, like that's fine. Positive yards. And pretty much what it boils down to is positive yards for the Chiefs is a win. Because if you think, even if it's just 1-2 yards at a time, you get yourself into those third and manageable situations. The Chiefs are by far first in EPA per play, success rate, yards per play. Like, they have been dominant on those third and anything besides third and long right now. So as long as they get themselves there, it's a win. And I think they are just fully embracing that. They're not trying too hard to push the ball to the intermediate areas. They're taking some shot plays, but they're not trying to become a vertical passing team. I think there was some attempts earlier this season to actively push the ball. Now it's just taking shot plays like we saw much of last year. And so it's maybe frustrating as a fan to watch what seems like a pretty dink and dunk offense, especially when there's not a great yak players like there was last year with Rashee Rice or Travis Kelce in his prime. It can be frustrating, but stay ahead of the sticks, and this offense looks good. Like, that's the whole point. Don't get a holding penalty. Don't give up a sack. And you stay ahead of the sticks, quick passes, you run the ball, you get to 3rd and 7 or less, and you feel really good about the outcome. It might be a 10-play scoring drive, but you feel good about their chances to do so. And so, yeah, I think that is what the expectation for this offense should be. And maybe you get lucky and DJ Humphries gets healthy and plays, like he did in the second half of the game last week. Maybe Hollywood Brown gets healthy and comes back, and that can change some stuff. But unless those things happen, that's what your offense is going to be this year, and they're good at it, even if it's not the most fun to watch every week.
Yeah, and don't be trailing 14-13 and have a 3rd down and 1 at the Chargers' 18-yard line and get an unnecessary or a personal foul. Headbutting somebody and move it back to 3rd and 16, and now you kick a field goal. Like, those are negative plays, certainly, like you're talking about. Matt Lane and they almost converted on 3rd and 16 with the pass to DeAndre Hopkins. It was just a great play by Hart in the secondary by the Chargers. Matt Lane is our guest. DJ Humphries played. I'm not expecting him to play this weekend, but he did play last week. So whenever he comes back healthy, what did you see from DJ Humphries when he was in there? Is it for a first game passable? Did you see little tidbits of what he could be? Little morsels of, okay, if this guy has a little more seasoning and out there a little bit more, getting more mid-season mode, that this guy can be a real clear improvement over Wanya Morris. What did you see from DJ Humphries in the time he was in?
There was very clearly rust or first game, knocking off, getting used to game speed. I guess that's the right way.
Yeah, that's
it. he was knocking off game speed. There was a couple plays early on where he looked like he was very much trying to play catch up with the speed. He was trying to play catch up, adjusting to the strength of having another player going 110% against him. And I think if you just watch the first quarter, you probably come away being like a little lackluster because it wasn't great. But I thought as the game went on, I actually thought he kind of settled in pretty well and did some nice things. I had just finished going back and doing a little bit of a film room on him that I put on our KCSN Discord for anybody that is, in there. And the way it worked out is like, I'm watching, I'm like, okay, he's doing a lot of nice stuff. I like his balance, like when he's getting out into his pass set. He stays, on his heels. He stays relatively well balanced to where he's not falling over too much trying to make a punch like a Kingsley does. He does a good job being patient with his hands, unlike a Wanye Morris. And so there's multiple plays where he's being attacked by a rusher, a Khalil Mack, who's a good rusher, where he's catching the hands. He's doing exactly what you're supposed to, and it looks really good. There's obviously some plays where whether he was laid off the ball because he's getting used to a new cadence, where he was maybe trying to figure out how to work with Joe Thuney against a certain twist or stunt or something where he was giving up quick pressures. But overall, I come out of the game feeling pretty good. Like there's a little bit of hope if he is the left tackle going forward that it can improve from what we have seen. And I think the biggest reason for hope is he sets a little bit wider than Wanye Morris or especially like a Jawan Taylor does on the other side. He gets a little bit more width in his set. And so that gives more space for Patrick Mahomes. Even when he loses, there's still a little bit more space for Mahomes to react. Whereas we've talked about it a couple times, the Chiefs' pocket is just really small. There's not a lot of space for Mahomes to move around. So if one of your tackles now, even if he's not playing perfect or great, but he's giving you more space initially, I think that'll go a long way. So I hope he can come back. I hope that hamstring is okay and he's feeling good, because I do think that there is a pretty good chance for a stretch run that his play, especially as a pass protector, can surpass anything we've seen this year at that left tackle spot. And I think that changes a lot of how this offense can look.
Yeah, it's a great point on sort of knocking off the rust. Well, one play sticks out to me when it comes to the cadence and the timing of it, and that was on 3rd and 5. The drive where the Chiefs got their second field goal to go up 6-0. It was 3rd and 5 at the 15-yard line for the Chargers, and it would have been a touchdown to Xavier Worthy. And Khalil Mack just beat him. He was fast, and it looked like Mack had already taken a step by the time that DJ Humphries was even moving, and you're toast at that point. I thought, going back and watching again, Matt, I thought when DJ Humphries wasn't facing Khalil Mack, I thought he looked just perfectly fine. Against Bosa, I thought he was fine. A couple times against Bud Dupree, he spun around him, or he swam him a couple of times. I think that might be game speed. But Khalil Mack got the best of him a number of times. Joey Bosa did not. And so I came away thinking, all right, that's good. And then he got injured. And so now it's like, okay, when's he going to get back in there? All right, a couple quick ones. Does Andy Reid catch Don Shula now that Bill Belichick is heading to college? It looks like it's cleared the path for just Andy Reid and Don Shula. He is 51 total wins, regular and postseason, behind Don Shula.
51 total wins behind something like what we're probably having to play out 3 more seasons after this one. Yeah, I think so. I think you just dangled a carrot right at the end of Andy Reid. So like, even if we were even considering retiring, I'm not saying he is or isn't, you've dangled that carrot, and it's very reasonable to get there within 3 years. So yeah, I'm going to say yes.
I am with you on that one. I think the closer he gets, the more likely he is to hang on to eventually catch him. Last one for you. What do you got? Chiefs, Browns, and score in mind if you have one.
I think shocking. There's going to be another close game.
What?
I don't think it matters who the Chiefs play. I think they play close games. Their flaws are going to be the same. Their strengths are going to be the same, and they can't stop their flaws from showing, and other teams can't stop their strengths from showing. So it's going to be a close game. I think that when this one plays out, though, I think it's going to be a little bit more offensive-based. I think both defenses will struggle to stop the other team a little bit. I don't love the way the Browns have been throwing the ball versus the Chiefs' coverage unit is a little scary, but the amount of injuries the Browns have defensively, I do think the Chiefs will be able to mitigate Myles Garrett's ability to completely break the game, and then they will find success on 3rd down. So I have the Chiefs winning this one. Last drive of the game, once again, for the game-winning score, but a little bit more points. We're going to go 27-24. I think both offenses have a pretty good day. What
if I told you it's going to be cold and rainy? That's the forecast for Cleveland during the game, starting at 6 o'clock and raining until 3:30.
I think that you have 2 quarterbacks that have enough physical talent that the rain and cold probably doesn't matter too much.
All right, great. What was the score you had again?
27-24 winning on the final, not play, but the final drive of the game.
Yeah, it's a triple doink. The Browns kick a field goal. Dustin Hopkins hits the left, right, upright, and then hits the crossbar, and they lose, and we're all just giggling more. Matt Lane, KC Sports Network, KC Laboratory Podcast. Matt, you're the man as always. Really appreciate it, brother. Love the conversations. Enjoy the football. We'll catch up in a couple of weeks, man.
Thank you for having me on. Go Chiefs.
Absolutely. There's Matt Lane. Great stuff from him. Love talking with Matt and the boys from KC Sports Network. And, yeah, man, there's this team. It's amazing, we're talking about a 12-1 team and then, what are the flaws and how they keep winning these close games. But I do think there's a dismissal of last year's 1-point loss to Detroit, 4-point loss to Philly, 8-point loss to Green Bay, 3-point loss to Buffalo, 6-point loss to Vegas. Those are just thrown out. And now it's the Chiefs. They win all these close games, and, well, they're going to start losing these close games. Well, nobody last year when they were losing those close games said, well, it's the Chiefs. They're going to start winning these close games. And they did. So maybe this is the flip side of what happened throughout a good portion of the season last year when they were losing those, because they went on to win one-score games in the divisional round, the AFC Championship, and in overtime in the Super Bowl. They flipped that script. The script may flip in the postseason this year, but that could be true for anybody in the playoffs. We'll take it. There's no perfect teams, and the Chiefs certainly are not that. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. More Zone next. All right, folks, it is the holidays and a time for being around friends and family, also a time that may have All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Assistant coach day today. So we won't hear from Trey Smith. I'd mentioned that maybe we're going to hear from him because he was under the weather yesterday. But it's assistant coach day.
Is he over the weather, though, today? Do we know?
I don't know.
Is he at least equal with or greater than the weather today?
I would say yes. I think he's whelmed.
Okay.
He's not over or underwhelmed. I think he's just whelmed with the weather.
Okay.
Dave Tobe, Steve Spagnuolo, Matt Nagy, and then Andy Heck, Dave Merritt, Joe Blameyer, and then we'll hear from Chris Jones as we do on a Thursday. So,
happy or sad, Chris?
I don't know. I'm not
it's
sure.
It's not sad. It's happy or like
subdued.
Subdued.
Happy or let's just get through this.
It's
Chris?
happy or got shot with a tranquilizer.
Wanting to or not wanting to be there, Chris. Wanting to be there, Chris, or not wanting to be there, Chris? That's the question. But Tobe, Spags, Nags, Ans, Hex, Andy Heck, Dave Merritt, Joe Blameyer, the assistant coaches that'll be up at the podium. Be good to hear from Andy Heck. Good to hear from Dave Merritt, too. Steve Nelson is back in the building. And what do you do with your cornerbacks right now and your slot corner? So, hey, two bigger questions, pass protection and secondary, and the positional coaches for them are going to be talking today. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll head out to Arrowhead coming up next. at the podium today. We'll also hear from Chris Jones when he gets up to the podium. So waiting for Dave Tobe, who, by the way, should point out, Matthew Wright, AFC Special Teams Player of the Week. Chiefs kicker Matthew Wright. How about that?
How great is it that they're on their third kicker getting Special Teams Player of the Week as Justin Tucker is shanking field goals? As Jake Elliott has zero faith in Nick Sirianni. Like,
I mean,
that might be one of the more underrated aspects of all the injuries the Chiefs have suffered. That kicker has still found a way to be productive.
2 times in the last 5 weeks, the Chiefs have had AFC Special Teams Player of the Week because Leo Chenal against the Denver Broncos was AFC Special Teams Player of the Week. Now Matthew Wright, and they won both of those games by a field goal or a block. There was a thud after both of those field goals. One off the arms of Chenal, one off the upright.
There were
from
cheers
Matthew
by
Wright.
Kansas City Chiefs fans
Both
as
of
the
them.
game
As the ball
was
hit
kicked.
whatever it hit. The ball hit whatever it hit. There were cheers by Chiefs fans. That ball blocked right back into the face of the Broncos, and then the doink off the upright. Here's Dave Tobe.
All right. Yeah, fire away.
How did Harrison look yesterday?
He looked good. We got to see how he responds. He's going to kick again today, and put a little bit more on him, and I think he looks pretty good. We'll see.
I don't know if we asked you this a couple weeks ago, Dave, but is there an easier transition with Matt?
Yeah, it definitely helps. I mean, him, knowing, how we do things, prepare, and how we practice and what we expect of him. That all helped for sure. And then he's a veteran too. He's been in a lot of places. It wasn't like he was, a rookie coming off the street. He was a guy that's done it before in games, I should say. None bigger than that one. That was huge right there.
What was your view as the kick went up and going?
I thought he missed it. The way he came off his foot. If it was any deeper, obviously he would have missed it. But it was a big kick. It's a lot of pressure on him. I was just proud of him that he made the 50, the 47, and the 33. I think it was. I mean, the 50 was no bigger kick than that one. I mean, to take the lead right there. That was a big kick too as well. So
just
proud of him.
Stops he's had, what does it mean for him to get the weekly award?
Yeah, that was huge for him. I mean, it's going to help him down the road. Eventually Bucker's coming back, and we can't have 3 kickers. I mean, so he's going to. It might help him get a job down the road. I mean, he deserves it.
Well, what's he got to do at this point
to get a job?
Yeah.
Probably keep making his field goals. I mean, that's number one, and then probably work on his kickoffs a little bit more. Be able to. Bang a touchback, he can certainly kick off with the new rules into the target zone. That can be done, but in the cold weather, you got to be able to try to get one deep. You got to be able to get him deep, and that's probably where he needs to work.
What was your take on what happened with the Chargers and their mistake late game to the penalty to get you guys to the 40?
I think they just we shifted our front to a left overload left, and they adjusted to a right kick. He just missed the kick. He tried to kick it to our right, and obviously it's a huge mistake.
Does Justin get kickoffs during the week?
Yes.
This week?
Yeah, he'll get kickoffs today. Yep.
Yeah.
He does.
And it was just a leg strength thing, is why he.
Yeah, we just felt like he could get the ball down to the goal line. That's where you want to get it at least. I mean, you could cover. I mean, with Justin too as well. I mean, he's a better cover guy, which is a big advantage. But it's really about the leg strength, getting the ball down to the goal line or into the end zone to make him, go further instead of giving it to him at the 10, catching it at the 10, coming forward. That's not good.
What did you see from Nico Remigio as a returner?
Yeah, he did a really good job. Showed a lot of poise out there. Good square catches, good decisions. It was really good, the pooch punt where they, the middle. He even tricked some of our guys. Some of our guys were like, they thought he made a fair catch and he stole it. It was a great decision on his part. We got to do a better job of blocking for him, finishing it up, and keep blocking to the whistle with him because he will take a little bit more of a risk, but he's smart too at the same time. And really, really good job, I thought.
How impressive is it for him to be down so many weeks and then just be ready to?
He's been practicing. You know, the thing about him is that he practices hard. You know, he does a lot of extra stuff out there that nobody really sees, and he was prepared. You know, he was prepared mentally for this, and very excited.
Where did that punt of Ariza rank in kind of all?
That was a great punt. It was you know, the wind was blowing hard right to left, and you know, he caught it right on his foot, and on the correct side of his foot, and that thing just it took off, and it was a great way to start that game for him because we knew, you know, what kind of returner Darius Davis was, and we needed to try to, you know, control him and keep him limited, and he had 0 returns. You know, Matt Ariza had a great game in that game.
We're going to go last three. We'll start with Matt and then Nick and Todd.
With all the different kickers this year and the big time moments you needed them, what's to say about James and Matt? They've been able to.
Yeah, it says a lot. I think I said something last week about that. Those guys deserve a lot of credit. You know, Matt being able to adjust. You know, the holder is huge. You know, with new kickers, they have it. You know, they want that ball a certain way, and he's able to just dial it up real quick. And then James being consistent with his snaps as he always is. You know, they're both veterans, and you know, those guys were a huge part of our success with the backup kickers.
Dave, with Harrison potentially the 3 games in 10 days, how much do you have to kind of weigh that for when you actually bring him back?
Well, if Harrison is back, he's back. You know, I think he'll get better and better as we keep kicking more. He just started kicking again, and he's starting to feel better. He's starting to get his power back, and it's going to be a little bit before you know, he's 100%. I'd say probably maybe 2-3 weeks, and then we hit the ground running right in time for playoffs. So. But we got to get him back on that horse. We got to get him back out there and going again. I mean, he had surgery on his knee, so you know, we got to remember that. So you know, we got to manage him well.
Last one.
I guess Justin will kick off again this week, likely.
Yeah, likely. Yeah, I mean, you know, the good thing is we have that option, and you know, he loves it. He absolutely loves it.
What's the danger factor with Cleveland? What are their return games like?
They're very good. I mean, you know, I know I say it every week. But I'm at, you know, they're dangerous. I mean, they got a lot of good football players out there, and the cold weather always is a problem. The rain. I mean, the ball mishit, whatever, they get the ball in their hands. So, you know, it's going to be tough.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thanks.
All right, there's Dave Tobe, and he thought he missed it. As soon as he kicked it, I thought he missed it, how it came off his foot. But also Harrison Butker kicked yesterday. They're going to see how he responds today, soreness, all of that stuff. They'll do more kicking today. When he's ready to go, he'll be back. There's no, slow playing it, whether it's 3 games in 10 days. And he said it's probably 2 or 3 more weeks until he's 100%. But then he'll be back and ready to go for the playoffs. I think what we're hearing, at least what I heard from Dave Tobe, is that there's still a chance he could be out there kicking even if he's not 100%. But as the days go on, weeks go on, he'll be closer and closer to 100%, but he can still kick just as he's doing in practice right now. My concern would be when he had that ankle injury, he had struggled throughout the year getting used to the ankle injury. You don't want to put in Harrison Butker just to put in Harrison Butker if the knee's going to be bothering him, if Spencer Schrader or Matthew Wright would put it between the uprights or off the uprights and in.
I was going to say, it hasn't been an issue yet, so there's no reason to rush him back. It's not like it's a disaster, and you're like, we need him. We've had 3 chances where there's been some missed kicks, or I know it wasn't pretty, but it still went in.
The only field goal they have missed since he went down was the 59-yard attempt before half. So, I mean,
it's Moneyball, baby.
They've been able to do their thing, so it's been all good so far. They're not having. It's not. I mean, the Chiefs are going to see this weekend Dustin Hopkins, who has already missed 9 field goals this year.
Yeah,
I mean, he's been brutal. He missed a couple against the Steelers over the weekend, and now it's going to be colder weather and wind and some rain with Dustin Hopkins. Like, they haven't dealt with what do you do with this guy. Justin Tucker has struggled. Akers with Philadelphia has struggled. Like, they have had their issues with their main guy. Chiefs are on the 3rd kicker, and it's like, well, they're putting it between the up or off the uprights. I mean, they're making it regardless of how it's done. They're finding a way to get it done and make it. So that's a credit to Winchester, and it's a credit to Ariza in holding the football. It's a credit to the special teams coaches. It's a credit to all of that, and the kickers for coming through in those situations. Here's Steve Spagnuolo.
Howdy. How's everybody doing? How doing that? All right, I don't have any wild words of wisdom, so I'm just going to open it up. Let you guys fire away.
You guys added C. Nelson this week.
Yeah.
It's practice squad right now. But what do you make? What's the plan for him?
take it, just take it one day at a time and see what we got. It's been a while, it's going to take a while to figure out for him. I mean, I sat down and talked with him. He hadn't been doing a lot, so we had him out there for one day. Take it day by day. Yeah.
It's a pretty interesting thing. He kind of resigned himself that he was retired.
Yeah.
You've had some guys come in the middle of the year. This is a little bit different. Right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Yeah, I talked with him about it. I mean, I don't know how it all transpired. I didn't ask all those questions. I'm assuming Brett just kind of researched it and it developed, and he made a decision to give it a shot. So we'll see where it goes. It's so ground level right now that I don't really have too much insight, to be honest with you.
For the guys that are I mean, just latest, outing. How do you feel?
Yeah, it's not going to be much different than it was this past week. We're starting to play a number of people. I mean, you saw Jaden Hicks has played quite a bit. Josh and NJ have both been in there. Like to try to keep working Chris Roland Wallace in there. That hasn't happened as much, but I think it's probably time to do that. You never know when we're going to have an injury and we're going to need these guys. So I think the experience is really good, and quite frankly, some of those guys have deserved it. So we're getting in there.
Steve, man coverage is such a part of your identity, what you guys like to do.
Yeah.
What's the adjustment when just things aren't going as well as you'd like, and you guys are playing man?
Well, first of all, there are a lot of times when it looks like man, it's actually not.
Yeah.
So I probably haven't played as much true man called from the sidelines as we did a year ago. But because we're a match zone coverage team, it looks like we're in man. Listen, what we do here is just keep chasing improvement. We're not going to reinvent the wheel or start changing things. We hope our guys get better at what they're doing. We'd like some of quite honestly, what it comes down to, I've already talked about this before, it's the explosive passes that get us. Last week it was so listen, we played a really good first half, and then the two drives in the second half, they score. One was on a DPI. What Justin would tell you, he could play better. And then the other one, I forget what happened on that first drive. We had a play on a 2nd and 16 that I thought Shamari defended pretty well. He just didn't make the play on the tight end. Otherwise, it's 3rd and 16. Maybe we get off the field. Maybe they kick a field goal. Things were a little bit different. So it's that close, especially this time of year. But I think we just keep grinding away at what we're doing and try to get better at it.
Is there a better test for explosive attempts than James Winston and what he brings to the table?
Is there a better test, you said? Yeah, no, they can be explosive, can't they? Him and number 3. So listen, that was the focus. The very first day we started working on Cleveland, which was Tuesday, and we got to eliminate. If that happens, it makes it a little bit tougher for us, and it'll certainly open up things for them. But let's see if we can't find a way to eliminate those.
Steve, for your pass rush, where do you feel like you are to be in terms of potentially being playoff ready?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we're going to take it. We still got 4 more games. I mean, right now, I don't go too far forward. I mean, I know everything that's lined up, and I realize we won the division. That's all great. But we're playing the Cleveland Browns, and that's all we worry about. We're hoping every game that the pass rush is, intense and violent, and we do really well, and then we evaluate at the end of each game. So we keep putting guys out there and see what we can get.
With Jameis Winston, he, a lot of touchdowns, throw it to the other guys too. You guys are obviously aware of that. How important is it when you get the opportunity to make that play?
Yeah.
To make that, because you probably don't have quite as many turnovers as you
We don't. The turnover has been one thing that if you were saying, what would you like to change the most, it would be to jack up the turnovers. And we always say that catch the ones they throw to you. So if that happens, we got to catch them. Although we could all put our brains together here. I don't remember too many actual drop balls that we've had. Would that be a safe statement? So we can't blame it on that. Maybe we got to get our eyes back and, cover a little tighter and try to get some. But, whether it's a forced fumble, a sack fumble, an interception, we all know the difference that makes in a win or loss. And we haven't had as many as we would like. And what I'm hoping for is that we're saving them all up.
I hear you guys talk a lot about eyes. Right?
Yeah.
How do you coach the eyes part if you're not in the game? Is it something you can look on film, or is it practice field stuff?
Yeah, I think it comes back to the practice field. Like even in yesterday's practice, I began yesterday's meeting with eye discipline, big PowerPoint, because I think that's really important now. And back end guys especially get their eyes tested. Play action pass is supposed to test the eyes, right? They want you to think they're running the football. And we've been harping on what we'll call the 2 Ds, details and discipline. and the eye discipline is one of them. And if you're going to be a zone coverage team, or even if you're in man, I mean, your eyes have to be on your man. I mean, when you play back there at linebacker or DB at those two spots, it is all about the eyes. It begins there.
Last one, anyone?
Impressions on Jaden? You said you guys haven't played him.
Yeah, listen, I think Jaden's done he's kind of done this all year long. He was on special teams initially. We had him in there in dime, and now we started to filter him there a little bit more in base, and he had some rotations in there. He'll probably get a few more plays this week. I like what he's doing. I mean, he's long, so he gives us something there. I think he's been a pretty good cover guy. And going back, guys, when I watched this film at Washington State, I thought he did a really good job at playing the ball and attacking the ball. A couple of interceptions that he made. So if we can get some of that, it'd be helpful.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, good. Thank you. Yep.
All right, there is Steve Spagnuolo. His assessment of Steven Nelson, sort of what I think as well of Steven Nelson after hearing him talk yesterday, that maybe a while before Steven Nelson sees the field for the Chiefs. He's also said that he wants to work in more guys in the secondary. They're playing Jaden Hicks more. He wants to see Christian Roland Wallace get in there and get more snaps. Now he said in case of injury, but I also wonder if it's like, well, we need to get that guy in there to see what we have. You're listening to Sports Radio 810 WHB Kansas City. Also the man coverage versus zone. Chiefs played man coverage on only 22% of the Herbert dropbacks, which is the lowest rate in a game this season. While also Justin Herbert completing his second most air yards per attempt in a game this year. Should also point out that in the first half when the Chiefs played zone, Justin Herbert was 7 of 15 for only 90 yards. Clear adjustment at halftime because when the Chiefs played zone in the second half, he was 9 for 9.
I do think there was a little bit of misconception because there were a couple of throws early. And again, you had to make the throws, clearly. You had to connect on them.
He did miss on, yeah.
But there were a couple of times when you saw receivers open deep down the field.
Yeah.
They gave me a little bit of, okay, the second half.
He missed Palmer in the first half, and that could have been big for them, obviously. But the Chiefs, against that team, did not go man-to-man. They went heavy zone. And when you've got all that time in the world to throw, you'll find some pockets in the zone eventually. And as Steve Spagnuolo said, the eyes. You got to stay eye disciplined if you're in zone. You start to leak. You start to go here or there. You start to follow the quarterback who wants to move you with his eyes to open up this space over there for a receiver. He was able to do that in the second half. Here's Matt Nagy.
When you see these quicker developing plays are working, what's the difficulty like the marriage of not wanting to necessarily give up completely on the longer developing explosives and just maybe even staying a little bit truer to that?
Yeah, you want to have a balance with the quick game, and then maybe you tie some in with some shots over the top with the quick game involved. Our guys have done a good job. I know being able to get the ball out and then run after the catch is big. The explosives, downfield shots haven't been there quite as much, but if that's the route that we're going to go and that's who we are, then we stick to that. And then we got to be good with the football, which we were talking about it this morning with the players and the guys. They've done a good job of ball security right now offensively with protecting the football. So if it's going to be one of those deals where you're just checking it down, run after the catch, protect the football. P. Ryan had a good one on third down where he broke a tackle. Like, keep those going.
Matt, there's been more pressure, obviously, on Pat this year than there's been. How have you seen him adapt to that?
He just goes about his business. He really does. It's our job to make sure as coaches that schematically we're putting our players in the best position possible. You guys have all seen, I mean, these defensive ends and pass rushers are not getting any slower and they're not getting any weaker. They're pretty good. And so that credit to them, but at the same point in time, we got to make sure that we're always working footwork drills in the pocket. A lot of times you can practice 3-step timing from the gun, 5-step timing, hitch, throw, slide left, slide right. Not so sure it's always like that. So continuing to practice so that in the game you feel the presence of maybe some edge pressure or maybe it's A-B gap pressure. And that's important. But Pat's been phenomenal. That's one of his greatest strengths is he doesn't worry about that stuff. He worries about the things he can control.
You went to a lot of the quick passes the other night against the Chargers. I mean, is that something you think he would have adapted to, would have handled in a game like that early in his career? I know he didn't play much when you were here the first time around.
Right. It might have been a little more difficult for him as a young, up-and-coming guy that wants to just throw 75 touchdowns every year and have a million explosives, and I get that, but he's really maturing and growing as a quarterback. We went through this, all of us here, these discussions and how we were last year. We talked about even at times with our defense how they were and what was going on offense that you've heard him talk about, as crazy as it sounds, that sometimes in some possessions, some games, playing smart with the football, and if you punt the football for field position, that's okay. We don't want that, but what that is growth for him as a quarterback. And I think like now you look at if it's for us, if we have to check a few down here or there, his mentality is not changing. Don't get that part twisted. Like he's still trying to go downfield. If they're not going to give it to him, grow as a quarterback and don't throw 30 interceptions. And he's done a great job with that.
One of the things he talked about yesterday was maybe a little too greedy on his part, some of the hits that he's taken on him because he was trying to do maybe too much. How do you try to coach that line? And as you said, I mean, you can get yourself in, not all hits are created equal, I guess, on the quarterback, but you put yourself in a bad spot, can end your season or something. How are you trying to coach that part to?
There's certainly a fine balance there because especially you look at third downs, he extends plays with his legs. So if he has a good feel of getting it and he's going to use his legs, that's great. I think when you're a quarterback and there's so many elements that go into the play, sometimes you see it from afar where it's a guy is open and for a different reason the ball's not thrown, and it's sometimes on the quarterback to trust it and sometimes it's not. You know, there's different things that happen within your view from down there on the field with different games that the line does, but trusting where to go with the football and really not trying to make if they do a good job on defense, don't make a bad play worse, and balancing trying to do something, because what we've all seen from Pat is the really crazy plays that not many people can do. He does it. It's one of those deals where you say, no, yes. That's what he does a lot. But in the general basic foundation of the offense, just staying true to your feet, staying true to your progression, and trusting everybody, coaches and players.
Nate, and then we have time for one more.
Go ahead.
You may have leaned into this, Matt, but when you say no, yes, is that like an actual example of kind of what Andy was saying after the game? Like, hey, if it's 3rd and 7, we think they're going to play man, they play zone. What are you doing, Travis? Like, what are the feelings of when you're not going to get the call right 100% of the time, but when you're in a critical spot and it doesn't go the right way, what is it like watching Patrick try to problem solve in real time?
You feel good about it because he has a history of doing those things in his career in big time moments. That's the other thing is like, it's usually not when you're down 20 when he makes a play like that. It's usually a critical moment that he makes that play. That's who he is. And we want to feel good when we put in a play and do we like it? And then on top of that, when do we call that play? And if we all feel good as players and coaches, then whatever they do, we got to react. And in that case, they dropped 8 and played zone. Difficult for that play that we called, but it still worked. And so if you're a defensive coordinator and you see that, I'm sure there's some frustration, but that's Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes making a play in a big moment to win us a game. And for us as coaches, there's a balance, and there's also a trust in them knowing that if that throw wasn't there to Travis, we feel good that Pat's going to make the right decision and not make a poor decision. And that's important.
Last one, too.
So aside from a win on Sunday, what would make this game a success in your book offensively?
We want to be able to have 4 really good quarters of offense. I'm looking at, like you said, selfishly from the offensive perspective. Being able to move the football, score points. We came out in that third quarter last week. We went 3 and out. And being able to sustain drives, we've done well with that this year. But first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter, put it all together nice and clean. Mistakes are going to happen. It's never the effort. Eliminate the penalties at critical times. Lock in on that, and keep building and creating momentum heading into the most important part of the season. But the guys, that's what we're all working on right now.
Thanks, Coach.
See you. Take care.
All right, there's Matt Nagy. Should also let you know that we found out before we went to the press conferences that DJ Humphries is not practicing today. So that is quite expected, to be honest with you. I didn't think he was going to play this weekend, but that's makes it less likely that he plays this weekend. DJ Humphrey's not practicing, but a number of things there to take away from Matt Nagy that we'll talk about after we hear from Dave Merritt and Andy Heck and Joe Blameyer that are going to be at the podium here very shortly. But we'll talk a little bit about things from Matt Nagy because I think there's a little bit of Matt Nagy not giving away, but kind of giving away what the game plan's going to be moving forward with the quick passes, getting the ball out of his hands quickly, especially this week with Myles Garrett out there. Last thing you want to do is just run around in the backfield and try to, gain depth. Garrett's too dang athletic. Here's Dave Merritt.
Just in general, this year, with all the different injuries and comings and goings and all that stuff, just how challenging has this been for you and your guys to work with this defensive backs?
Yeah, I go back and I think back to the AFC Championship game when LJ went down and all of a sudden Josh had to go in the game and play after 5 snaps. And so, not that you want to see this happen, but, when you've had injuries, the amount of injuries that we've had, guys in and out, you want to make sure that the next guy's ready. So, again, we always try to teach our guys and make sure that everyone understands the role that they need to go in and be ready to play. And with that comes a lot of responsibility on the players to make sure they know what they're doing when the defense is called. So, but it's not easy. You wish everyone would stay healthy. I'm quite sure all the other 30-plus teams would want the same thing. But once you have an injury, you have to be able to overcome it. And hopefully your next guy's ready to go because everyone's a starter when you're in the room.
Your defensive backs coming into this year have been so good. And, there's been a bit more explosives this year. And it's a lot of the same guys. So, Ron, what's your run the reason?
I think eye control. And so, in speed, in pedal, from a safety, if I'm a nickel, making sure that I play with the proper angles, angling out. It's just little things that we need to correct. And as far as explosive, yes, this is the most probably explosive passes that we've given up since I've been here. And so, but hopefully all of that is going to taper down from this point forward and getting the guys locked back in. I told them, I said, sometimes you're going to be derailed and you have to understand what was the cause for that derailment and getting the guys back into just alignment, technique, keys, and assignment and just going back to the basics is what we've done the last week and a half.
You guys hadn't played Nazi a lot before the season, obviously due to the injury he had a year ago.
Right.
What's the difficulty of trying to get him as much experience as possible? Obviously trying to win the game, but knowing that he's not a perfect football player, there are going to be maybe more mistakes than you're accustomed to. How do you sort of keep that in perspective while also trying to coach him through it?
Yeah, good question. I think when it comes to Nazi, a young man that hasn't played the cornerback position, and he comes here and all of a sudden we're asking him to play cornerback. I think just trying to keep him comfortable with the calls and the technique and the footwork. And so it's not easy, it's very difficult. He's a young man that he and we meet twice a week during the mornings, trying to get him caught up to speed on the certain techniques. Then all of a sudden we actually just cut that back to once a week. But just trying to get him to watch as much film as he can and understand what he's watching. And then when we go out to practice, trying to get him as many reps as we can give him. Because you're right, last year with the injury, and then coming back this year and trying to plug him in there. And a couple of games he started for us. And so just understanding that as a corner or a DB period, you have to have a short memory. And so if you're beat on a play, you have to flush that and let it go. And I think that's been a little new to him as well. And all of a sudden, there could be a little hesitation on his part, trying to go up and do certain things because you don't want to get beat again. So just trying to work him through it.
Couple more.
Josh did well. Josh is a long, big guy, like I said, that we've used before. And so I think Josh is going to be, the perfect guy that we need to be out there with his length and his ability to go out and play versus some of the wideouts that we're getting ready to face. So.
Man coverage is such a big part of what you guys do, take pride in. Can you evaluate how you guys have done in that aspect this year?
Well, you're talking man, when you're dealing with man coverage, I think these guys are still learning each and every week because every receiver brings a different release, a different flair. And so no two receivers release the same. And so just constantly teaching these guys how and what to look for and switching up some techniques. And so I wouldn't say we've been great at it, but I think it's always constantly a work in progress.
Last one, Nick.
Dave, with the combination of Tillman, Moore, and Judy, what are you seeing from that wide receiver group?
Yeah, very, very explosive. You're talking Judy, explosive off the line of scrimmage. And Moore is the same way. And so, but these guys have long ball, deep ball ability to run past defenders. And so that's the main thing that you see in their quickness off the line of scrimmage. Being able to run in breaking routes and so, but their ability to get down the field and get down very quickly is what we've seen on film. And you have to stop that somehow.
Thanks, guys.
Get your hands on them.
All right, there's Dave Merritt. Yeah, that'd be in.
Get your hands on him.
Not 5 yards down the field or longer or holding, but interesting talking about the man covers there. The guys are still learning every week that all these receivers, they have different releases. They have different ways that they release and get off the ball, get off the line of scrimmage. And said for his team, they haven't been great, but it's a work in progress still. And like we said, they ran the lowest percentage of man coverage against the Chargers than they have run all year. Now Spags says, well, some of that is, we play a matchup zone, so it's a zone, but then we play man-to-man, so it's like, maybe it can be interpreted a little bit differently. But still, man coverage has not been good for this team this year. And whether that be because of cornerback 2 or that be because of man coverage in the middle of the field, from the slot, from the linebackers, from the safeties. Like there have been a number of guys that you've pointed to and said, okay, well, this play or this guy there. And if you're playing a zone coverage, you'd like to get a little bit more pressure on the quarterback and not have him just sit back there and pick apart a zone.
Yeah.
So it's the chicken or the egg, you got to improve at one area. Either you're going to put pressure on the quarterback or you're going to get better in the secondary. And all of that being said, they've still played pretty damn good defense. I know they had some opportunities in the first half, the Chargers did, that they did not connect on, but they held a Chargers team to 17 points. The Bills put up 40 against the Rams, and they were sitting at, 23 against the Chiefs with a 4th down and 2. They're sitting at 23 with 4 minutes to go in the game with a 3rd down and 9. They didn't get off the field. You would have liked to see them get a stop. They drove the field. They scored a touchdown. They ended up getting 30 in that game. But it wasn't like that Rams game where the Bills were just going up and down the field on them. They had, 3 straight possessions where the Bills ended up punting. They had a couple of drives that stalled out and had to kick a field goal. And then they had those last 2 drives, which resulted in touchdowns, 22 total plays against the Bills. The Bills, 22 total plays on those last 2 drives against the Chiefs, and touchdowns. Couldn't get off the field on either one of those. What is the difference in that? The Chargers had 2 straight drives where they went right down the field and scored on the Chiefs. Touchdowns to go from 13-0 down to up 14-13. Pressure, secondary, it works together, and it seems like right now it's not working at all, either one of them. How do you get better? How do you improve? Who do you put in there? What's the answer? I don't know.
You at least
because they're looking for the answer too.
You have seen more pressure with Charles Omenihu coming back. You've seen Turk Wharton. Again, we've talked about this.
Multi-sack game.
The fewer snaps, I think, will be better because you'll get more high-end snaps from Turk Wharton, who we've seen early on in the season. That can be a huge game changer for Kansas City. They were able to take advantage again of the weaker interior of the Chargers, where their tackles were not going to give up anything. Right? That's the Chiefs had to win on the inside, and the Chiefs only won on the inside.
Here's Andy Heck.
Ready when you are.
Andy, where do you feel like you guys are at from a pickup and passing off standpoint on both ends?
Talking about
ET stunts,
picking up stunts. That's something we're working on and need to be better at. And a lot of that has to do with chemistry, and if the guy's he's a little bit deeper and I'm a little bit more shallow, so getting on same levels. So we work on that, and especially on a day like today, where we're going to be doing a lot of our throwing game.
And for DJ Humphries in his first game, how did you feel like he did up until the injury?
Yeah, I was really encouraged by what I saw from him. I mean, really pretty good with his hand use, which after such a long extended period without a lot of practice, that came back to him quickly. I mean, he's a veteran. He's played a lot of football, so some of that muscle memory kicked in. His sets, I thought, improved as the game went on, so I was really encouraged by that.
How about the way Lonnie reacted? First, to
to sitting and then having to come back in and play those last few snaps, and how he performed in that.
Yeah, I thought he handled that whole situation like a pro. From the moment we talked to him about what our plans were, what our intentions were, he approached it the right way, went out and knows, as a young player, he's continuing to work, as we all are, to get better. I thought he did that. And then when he was called on, you got to be ready, things happen. And he stepped in, and I thought he did a good job.
In that same vein, you guys hit the reset button on Kingsley. We talked to him and see him last snaps. How do you feel like he's responded to what's turned into like a step back year in a sense?
Yeah, very well. Also handling it like a pro, a young pro, but he's working very hard every day, and I'm seeing some improvement out of him. I really like both of our young tackles and their ability and how they're working right now.
Is the plan still to keep Kingsley at left tackle, or are you asking him to maybe do some things at right tackle as well?
Well, he's got left tackle ability for sure, and I love what he can do out there. But like all of our linemen, we train him to play multiple positions. So you'll see him in practice. He'll jump in there at guard. We don't peg anybody as he's this or that.
We don't know
Couple
what's going to
more.
happen with DJ. He's got hamstring. Maybe he won't be able to play. Who knows? But if he can't play this week, what's the plan at left tackle?
Yeah, well, we've got a lot of options there, and ultimately Coach Reed will make that decision.
Andy, for this offensive line, what do you feel like gets them best in rhythm from a pass protection perspective?
I'm sorry, one more time?
For your offensive line, what do you feel like for them gets them best into rhythm from a pass protection?
Oh, I'd say the same thing that gets our offense in rhythm. When you're staying ahead of the chains, you're being positive on first and second down, you're getting to third and manageable. Obvious things, but when that happens and guys start feeling that and you're in a flow, now you're playing freer, you're playing more confidently. It's a trickle-down effect. And so you got to start fast, and Coach does a great job of setting up his, play calls, his, famous first 15s that really, I think, a lot of times help our offense get into a rhythm.
I got to ask you about the Browns and their front. A lot of people say, I know they haven't won as many games as they'd like, but Myles Garrett is certainly one of the best there is in the league. What all do they do with him? They move him around quite a bit. It's going to be everyone's issue at some point, probably.
I would say he'll be everyone's issue at some point. Of course, he loves to line up on our left a lot, but everybody's going to have an opportunity to block him, and he's a great player. And really, they've got an outstanding front. Like a lot of the teams we face, their front seven is their strength, and particularly that front. And those guys get off the bus rushing the passer. They're going to be at home. They're going to be coming off the rock, and they do a great job of getting upfield and creating penetration and problems for offense. So it's a good challenge for us.
Last one, anyone? Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, there's Andy Heck. First question there out of the gates. How are you guys doing at picking up and passing off with some of these stunts with the end tackle and his response? We're working on it. We need to be better. Chemistry is an issue. Sometimes alignment in terms of how deep somebody is. This guy's a little more shallow. This guy's a little more deep. When you're handing these guys off, and then now somebody wins, somebody loses from that. They have not been good, and teams are going to continue to do that because they haven't been good. And I think because of that, we've also seen Mahomes on third downs trying to step up and make something happen, but because of stunts and not being picked up, what looked like it was an area to escape through is now being filled by somebody that's coming around into a stunt. That happened a couple of times in the game against the Chargers. It happened against the Raiders as well. We've seen that happen a few times. And gosh, what was the game earlier this year where we said, man, it feels like Mahomes keeps escaping right where the team is trying to get him to escape because they were running stunts and he would run to his right and it's like somebody was waiting for him right there. This team has not been good at picking those things up. And some of it is a revolving door. It feels like a little bit at left tackle. But Trey Smith and Juwan Taylor have played together every game dating back to the beginning of last year. That shouldn't still be an issue.
Correct.
It's not only it shouldn't be an issue, it shouldn't. But it also shouldn't still be an issue when they played together all of last year and all of this year. We haven't talked about multiple guards for Trey Smith and Juwan Taylor. Boy, they just don't have that chemistry. They've played next to each other for almost 2 years now. Yet still, that is an issue. Stunts on the right side against Juwan Taylor and Trey Smith. And not being picked up. DJ Humphries getting beat on a stunt, a little more grace with that. Because He had Khalil Mack. He's bodying him up. He's winning. He's riding Khalil Mack down to the interior, down to Joe Thuney, and Khalil Mack just throws a shoulder into Joe Thuney. Thuney's guy comes around the edge. Humphrey stays connected to Khalil Mack. That guy gets a hit on Patrick Mahomes. Incomplete pass.
Yeah.
In a couple of weeks, does DJ push Khalil Mack down to Thuney and sees that he's starting to make contact and then immediately let go and then kick step back waiting for that guard to come around or tackle to come around? Maybe that's the case.
See, those problems are much easier to solve than I can't even get in front of Caleb Von Chasen. Like, I can't even get my hands on Caleb Von Chasen.
That's a great
with Wanya
point.
Morris.
And then when I do, I'm certainly not worried about when do I let go because somebody else is going to be, crossing my face and I got to pick up that
I'm
guy.
holding on for dear life.
Well, I'll tell you this. Wasn't going to get a holding penalty right there. If you can't touch him, you can't get a holding penalty. See?
You know what?
3D chess, baby.
You know what? If he gets past you and he's about to get a clean hit on Patrick Mahomes, I'd like you to just tackle him. Don't just try to reach out and push him. I want you to go and grab him, tackle him, and then walk over to the ref, take the flag out of his belt, and throw it on the ground. Yeah, I held him.
Bear hug.
Nobody touched my quarterback, though. You damn right nobody got to my quarterback. Here's Joe Blameyer, passing game coordinator for the Chiefs.
No. All covered up.
All right, fire away, guys.
Hey, Joe, you guys started the season, you're playing Rasheed, a lot of yards after catch, and now one of your top guys is DeAndre, which is kind of the opposite of that. I just wonder, can you take us behind the scenes of how an offense, you have all these plans in training camp, and potentially just change things over the course of time and remake yourselves?
Yeah, it does appear that that there is like a change or a big drastic transformation. Really, it's just trying to get the ball to Rasheed as fast as possible, and similarly with DeAndre, just get him the ball the easiest way and the fastest way, and the way that he can put the most stress on the defense. And so we kind of got into a groove with Rasheed on a number of ways that we found success doing that. With DeAndre, where we know from his past a bunch of the ways that he's had success doing that. So now we're just trying to build that in a little bit. So it hasn't necessarily been as much of a drastic change as it is just a shift in the same mentality. How can we get these playmakers the ball, and just a little bit different twist.
Reaching for different plays on the shelf?
Yes, exactly. Reaching for different plays. And DeAndre's got a whole bunch of plays from his past that we haven't necessarily utilized a ton of, but that he's great at, so we're just bringing him back.
Over the past month or so, how have you seen Xavier Worthy advance his game in your studies?
He, some of the situational downs, third down especially, there's a difference between, and I've said this before, there's a difference between what he has and what he has to do. So on third down, if he has a route, on first and second down, you got to run that route at the right depth, be in the right spot. On third down, we got to move the chains. And so you have the route. You have to run the same route at the right depth. But then at the end of the day, we got to move the chains and we got to get the first down. And he's kind of been able to separate, and it's a very small, just a subtle difference, but he's been able to show up in those downs and distance and move the chains. And that's a hard thing to do as a rookie, because it shifts within the game on kind of how you run those routes. But on those third downs that he's converting, you're seeing some of the, he's running his route and then he's making a play.
3rd and 10 last game?
3rd and 10 last game, when the timing of the route, he had the deep route, he was running it, he was ready and in the right spot, and then the clock just went off in his head. You know, the ball should be thrown by now. It's not. Let me turn around and figure out why. He sees Pat, he finds the open space, and then Pat makes an unbelievable throw, and then he makes the catch. So yeah, that's exactly right. That timing in his head, where maybe on first or second down early in the year, he's just running all the way down the field towards the back pylon.
Why has maybe the production for Noah really seemed to spike this year?
Yeah, I think you're asking the wrong guy, because I would have told you 2 years ago that this production that we're seeing from Noah was due to break out at any time. He has been consistently just impressive as a route runner since the day he got here, and then more and more familiar with what we do and how we do it. So it's not a surprise to me. I think it's about time. It's been overdue. He's getting a little bit more opportunities just with some of the heavier tight end sets that we're using, but he's been doing this and had this potential for this type of receptions and yards for a number of years.
Joe,
Couple more.
We asked Andy yesterday about Hollywood, and everybody knows he's getting close. Have you been through a circumstance where a guy you've been with all year long is just now sort of getting ready to get on the field, and how may mid-season trades sort of help you try to, reacclimate him into the mix?
No, it's funny that you asked that because I've been asking around too. Has anybody on our staff been a situation where the guy took every rep in the spring, every rep in training camp, and then we missed him for the entire season and he's ready to come back? That's unique. As the person, we're excited to get Hollywood back whenever he's ready, just because his personality is so infectious. He's fun to be around. He's a competitor. We can't wait to have him back join the group. The football side of stuff, he's built that. Those reps, that camaraderie with Pat and the other receivers. He's been here, he's done it, and he's done it in his past. He just hasn't done it in a game yet this year, which is strange. But I don't expect. I mean, he wouldn't be coming back if he wasn't 100% and ready to roll. So when he is back, I expect him to kind of just like riding a bike, hop back in where he left off. I know that might be a little asking a lot, but the way that he came in and the way he was progressing. Maybe it's just the optimism, but you hope that he's just right there. And I mean, he's done it. We've seen him do it. Now it's just a matter of going out there and doing it.
Last one, Matt.
With Xavier, do you see any similarities with some of the things that you've been able to maybe do with him in the last month that is comparable, at least to maybe some of the things that Tyreek did early in his career for you guys?
Yeah, we're trying to stretch the field with him vertically like we did with Tyreek. And then when you saw just the playmaking ability as soon as they got the ball in the hands, some of those deeper throws are just low probability completions just because of the depth of the throw. So then it's like, how can we also complement his speed and threaten the defense with easier completions? And so with Tyreek, we tried to exhaust every way we could do that as well. And so we're building those in for Xavier. So I would say a similar skill set, and we're trying to do that. And then you just got to build up to get to that comfort level and hopefully that style like Tyreek was.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks.
All right, there's Joe Blameyer. Boy, some interesting stuff there on Xavier Worthy that I want to talk about and get into, but we need to take a break. We'll come back. Chris Jones will be at the podium here in just a little bit. A little break between the coaches and the leader of Sac Nation. We'll take a time out, come back here from Chris Jones on the other side. More Zone next. now Chris Jones at the podium for the Chiefs.
All right, Chris.
What's going to be the biggest challenge with the Browns this Sunday?
Jameis Winston, heck of a quarterback, can make all the big throws, streaky, tough, competitive. It's a competitive Browns team. We know we're gonna get the best effort. Yeah.
Not a guy you're going to be going against, but Myles Garrett. How well do you know Myles? Do you guys work together, talk together, and just what kind of a player is he? Just from your mindset as a defensive guy.
Myles is amazing. Won Defensive Player of the Year last year. Well deserved. Has a lot of respect for his game. Yeah, I have much respect for him and hope he has no success against us and that continues throughout 4 quarters.
Is there competitiveness there, even though you guys don't go against each other? You want to outdo him?
I think anytime you get on the field, it's a competitiveness. You know what I mean? You want to outdo anyone you get on the field with if you're a competitor. So I think that aspect speaks for itself. But yeah, I hope he has no success.
Jameis, I was trying to look through game logs. You maybe played against him yourself since your rookie year, is that right?
Yeah, you're probably right. Since my rookie year, I think he was in Tampa
Yeah.
Bay, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. I haven't played him, didn't sack him, so he's tough to bring down.
Bigger guy too, right?
Yeah, shifty, not as fast, but very shifty.
Chris, with the 10-day span coming up here, where you have 3 games in 10 days, how do you about managing trying to help your body recover each time?
Would have loved a late bye week. That would have been very helpful. Not a week 5 or week 6 bye week, but with everything's ahead of us, Coach Reed is doing a heck of a job in changing up the format for us, letting us get a little extra rest and mentally being locked in. I think that's a huge aspect of it. Make sure we mentally locked in, sleep a lot, get a lot of rest, and be able to execute when we have to play.
When you guys continue to win all these games, and on the outside, people are like, I can't believe they win, whatever. Many times you've been in the locker room after game, y'all haven't been super happy about the way you've won, but you've won. Just what's the overall attitude of the team right now, just by the fact that you guys are winning these games, but it's not exactly the way you want it to go?
I mean, there's always rooms for improvement. There's always ways to get better. We all want to blow out. We all want to win by multiple scores, but a win is a win. A win is a win, baby. So I'll take it. But it's always areas you can improve in and be better at. But I'd rather learn that from a win than a loss.
Anything else? Thanks, Chris.
No, take care.
All right, there's Chris Jones getting ready for the Cleveland Browns. Much respect for Myles Garrett's game. Just wish him no success against the Chiefs on Sunday. Shout out on Twitter to Phil Garrison. Said we were talking about kickers and Butker, and after Dave Tobe said, I don't think David Akers has kicked for the Eagles in 20 years. I think he meant Jake Elliott. Of course. Dustin Hopkins and David Akers and all these guys that are struggling. Clearly Jake Elliott for the Eagles. I had to look it up.
Did I say David Akers?
No, I think I did. I'm pretty sure I did. I went and looked it up. David Akers last kicked in 2010. Everybody for the Eagles that kicks will be David Akers to me. Sorry, Jake Elliott, you're David Akers. Sorry, David Akers, that you're missing all these field goals this year. That sucks for you, man. But that's reality. That's
Wasn't
life.
he was left-footed too.
I don't know. It doesn't matter. I was looking in a mirror. Who knows? We need to take a time out. We'll come back. I want to talk about the things that I heard from Steve Spagnuolo, Jaden Hicks, and Brian Cook. What are we seeing? The trend there. Matt Nagy, quick passing game. Trend there. Joe Blameyer, interesting stuff on Xavier Worthy on 3rd down. We'll talk about that as well. More Zone next. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. We got Sports or Leisure coming up in the 1 o'clock hour.
Leisure.
That's right, sports. Steve Spagnuolo talked about Jaden Hicks getting some playing time out there as well when discussing different guys getting roles and what those roles have been. I went back and looked because I'd noticed that Jaden Hicks was getting a little bit more playing time. So see if you find a trend here, Sterling, on Brian Cook and Jaden Hicks. Against Buffalo, Brian Cook played 100% of the snaps. Jaden Hicks played 16%. Against Carolina, Brian Cook played 100% of the snaps. Jaden Hicks played 19. Against Vegas, Brian Cook played 90% of the snaps. Jaden Hicks played 35. Against the Chargers, Brian Cook played 77% of the snaps. Jaden Hicks played 43. Seen a trend there?
Brian Cook is going down, and Jaden Hicks is playing more.
The last 3 weeks, Cook has gone from 100 to 90 to 77% of the snaps, while Jaden Hicks has gone from 19 to 35 to 43. Shamari Connor's been right around the same, 73, 71, 74, 75 is his percentage of snaps. So it's not like – and Justin Reed's 100%.
Yeah.
Like he's out there all the time. So what you're seeing is they are playing some more, multiple safety sets with 3 safeties out there, but also while Hicks is getting more playing time, that's cutting directly into Brian Cook's playing time. He's dropped 23% over the last 3 weeks, and Jaden Hicks has jumped up 27%. That's almost a direct correlation. It's almost play for play from Brian Cook playing less, Jaden Hicks playing more. We've talked about the issues that we've seen at times from Brian Cook. And, that it doesn't seem like he has some of that explosiveness that he had before the ankle injury. And he's had some trouble in tackling in the open field as well. So just thought that was pretty interesting. And Matt Nagy, I think, kind of giving something away. Well, not giving it away. He was asked about a quick passing game and, how you go about sort of running that with the, incorporating everything into your offense. And he said, we want balance with the quick game, and you also want to tie in some of those deep shots, those downfield shots, but they haven't been there. The next follow-up, I don't remember what the question was, but he said, we have to be good with the football, ball security. We just had a meeting this morning, making sure we're all well aware and reinforcing the ball security. So if you're checking down, we need to make sure that we are taking care of the football when we're running with it. Any particular reason why today they just had a meeting to reinforce ball security on checkdowns and when you got the ball in your hand, if we're going to be having to run more plays during drives, that, hey, ball security and keeping the football, not turning it over is going to be even more important because you're going to have more opportunities to run after the catch or catching the ball and getting hit quickly on some of these slants and over the middle and things like that. I don't know that he gave away the game plan or if it would be even, that crazy, oh my gosh, goodness, they're going to start throwing more quick passes and what we've been talking about. But it is interesting. He says that, when we do that, we have to be good with the football, with ball security. And we just happened to have a meeting this morning reinforcing that.
So a lot more Carson Steele.
That's exactly what it is, yes. No, what it is me immediately going and saying, what's the over-under on Mahomes' completions in this game? They've got it at 23.5.
Rip
which 6 of the last 7 he's exceeded 23. So if they're going short passing games and quick get the ball out, 24 completions, even with the cold and some of the rain, certainly doable. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back, continue rolling. Sports or Leisure coming up at 1 o'clock. More Zone next. All right, we got Sports or Leisure coming up in the next segment. Want to do one more point on the press conferences. Joe Blameyer, something he said when talking about Xavier Worthy, that he's gotten better situationally on these different downs. There's a difference between what he has and what he has to do. So here's what you have on this route. But also, here's kind of what you have to do along with that. First and second down, this is what you have. Route, right depth, everything. Third down, essentially do what needs to be done. Run your route, run the depth, but then find a way to make a play. And on 3rd and 10, there on that final drive, he's running his route. You got to watch the All-22 to see it. He's running a deep route to sort of clear out the middle. And he says, the ball isn't there, the timing, he turns around. So he comes back to help out Patrick Mahomes doing what you have to do on 3rd down.
attack by the time you're 40 if you don't learn to relax.
It's time for sports or leisure on The Zone with Jason Anderson.
All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Time for a little sports or leisure presented by Johnny's Tavern. $25 we give away for the winners in sports or leisure. You get a sports question, you get a leisure question. You get them both right, you win. Either of them wrong, you lose. The question is out there, available for someone to call in and request. We give out the right answer when it has been answered correctly, or we have simply run out of time to play. That's sports or leisure. Johnny's Tavern, 10 locations, premier sports bar in Kansas City, Lawrence, and Topeka. 10 locations and the home of the discount for however many points Chiefs score on Sunday against the Browns. That's the percentage discount they're going to give you off on a large specialty pizza, dine-in only at all of the Johnny's Tavern. So, against the Cleveland Browns, a lot of people picking it in the 20s. Surprising. Chiefs getting to somewhere around 20. The rain and cold may limit that, or, you know what, an explosion of offense for the Chiefs. Maybe you're getting 30% off, something like that. That would be nice, of a large specialty pizza at Johnny's Tavern, and you could take the $25 you win for sports or leisure and go to Johnny's Tavern and enjoy that on Monday with the percentage off. So
and take me with you.
That's right.
Yeah.
Or Sterling will just sit there and be weird and awkward around people at the bar and
Sure.
just see if maybe you've got a Johnny's gift card discount and try to strike up a conversation, and maybe he gets his tab paid for.
Hey, guy. Hey, guy, what you got? You got something for me?
Hey, what you say there, pal? Huh? Have you done that before?
Once or twice.
Okay,
yeah.
good for you. Let's go to the categories on the sports side. We have general NFL. We have back to school. Back to school. These are questions about NFL head coaches that went to college to be a head coach. NFL to college, not college to the NFL, but NFL to college, like Bill Belichick.
Oh.
So this is back to school. And then we have some leftovers from the Border War basketball if somebody wants to dive back into that category. So NFL, back to school, and Border War basketball. What about on the leisure side, Sterling?
We have riddles, we have potpourri, otherwise known as potpourri, and we have a new one. This new one is called Cover Me, Baby. It's songs, okay? They're songs. You tell me the OG or the cover. You got to tell me both. So
both.
So both. But some covers have been done by like 5 different bands. Just tell me 2. So all I need is 2.
2 covers?
It could be 2 covers. It could be the original and a cover.
Oh, I thought you needed the original and a cover.
You know, because some of them are going to be hard to go way back for some people. A lot of classic rock. Most of these are pretty obvious.
Yeah, that makes sense. If it's
I
just wanted to clarify.
You got to give me 2.
Yeah.
It can be 2 covers, or it can be the original and a cover. Yeah. It's called Cover Me, Baby.
There we go. And it's about covering. The Chiefs have not done that very often.
Since the Chiefs don't cover, we have to find some covers somewhere.
Got to find it elsewhere. You know, when it's cold outside, get under the covers, you know. A little warm there. You know, the beautiful part about when it's cold outside, you can also warm up.
Yeah.
With
well, that Cover Me Baby
layers.
was better than Snuggle Me Baby, but
could be.
Yeah.
Who snuggled that song?
Who snuggled that one?
That was a popular song by another band, but I can't remember who snuggled it.
We're not talking fireworks. We're not talking smuggling. So yeah.
Okay, there we go. 913-381-0810. That is the phone number to be a part of the show to play some sports or leisure. 913-381-0810. I am ready to go. Sterling, you ready to play?
Let's do it.
Dylan, what say you, sir? Very good. All right, we head to the phone lines. Let's see who has been waiting the longest. First up is Charles on Sports Radio 810 for a little sports or leisure. Charles, what side would you like to start with, sir?
Dylan said I was second in line, but I'll take first in line.
Well, Dylan is dumb. Sorry, no.
Wow.
Dylan. You were second in line, but somebody dropped. They were intimidated by it. But you are first in line now. First up.
Let's do the sports. We're going to do the college coaches.
All right. Let's see. Back to school. All right. He's coached both in college and the pros. He's gone from the NFL to college and also gone from college to the NFL. His alma mater realized the ultimate success in his last year before returning to the NFL. He finally got a place at the family table this past year with the success, although he's still chasing his older brother.
Older brother. Oh, boy. It's pretty much a giveaway when you said older brother, but...
It was for Sterling.
Yeah.
Because then Sterling went, That was Sterling's way of saying,
I wasn't even paying attention
light
until I heard
bulb.
older brother.
Oh,
and
well,
I go,
thank you.
oh,
I
yeah.
appreciate it. No, I can't wait to hear your questions.
No,
Weren't
you
even
can
paying attention.
zone out.
Weren't even paying
It's
attention.
called the zone for a reason. You zone out.
Zone in or zone out. Yeah, there's a lot of zones here. Chiefs playing a lot of zone lately.
But we need Charles to man up.
Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah, who's got it better than Charles?
Like man defense up.
I
says,
see.
yeah.
Man up. Yes, it was Jim Harbaugh who went from college to the pros and pros to college. Over to Leisure with Sterling.
We have riddles, we have potpourri, and we have cover me, baby.
I'm going to lean towards the potpourri this time.
All right, potpourri. All right, this is kind of fun. Let's get historical here. Not really historical. It's more like geography. What's the longest river in the world at 4,132 miles?
The rest of the NFL is crying after the Chiefs win.
That's good.
It's a long river of tears.
Longest river in the world, right?
Yeah, in the world, baby.
It's got to be the Queen of Denial.
It is the Nile, baby.
It's the Nile baby is what he was looking for.
Yeah.
Not the big Nile, but the baby Nile.
Yeah, it's the crocodile.
That's right. Hey, Charles, we'll put you on hold, get your information. Congratulations, sir.
And I'm not in denial about that win. So go
See?
Chiefs.
Look at that.
Let's go,
Take
baby.
That. Yeah, it's denial. It's only a river in Egypt, and it's the longest one in the entire world.
4,132 miles. That is
Long
a very long river.
That's a long float trip.
Wow,
That's a
the
very
amount
long
of
float
beers I could crush on that float trip is
infinity.
I wouldn't live.
Every of them. The amount I would crush is still zero, oddly enough. Let's go to who is next up. That would be John next up. John, sports or leisure, what side would you like to start with, sir?
Hey, we'll go back to school.
Let's. Nice. Hey, you know what? Well done, Rodney. Let's go with this one. This man went from college to the pros, but then went from the pros directly back to college. He's won a national championship at 2 of his 4 stops in college, but only lasted 2 years in the NFL, choosing the wrong free agent quarterback when Drew Brees went on and won a Super Bowl for the Saints. He swore he'd never take that college opening job until he did. He did, and that was a detriment to almost every other coach in his conference, and even the current coach at his school now.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, there's a mouthful.
I know it is.
Not a tall man, huh?
Yeah, there's a lot going on there.
Yep. So college to pros to college, won a national championship at 2 of his 4 colleges that he coached at. Only 2 years in the NFL before returning to college, and chose the wrong free agent quarterback, which could have changed his the direction of sports as we know it.
Yep.
In so many different ways.
Okay, I won't keep asking for hints. I'm just gonna. My gut tells me Chip Kelly.
Chip Kelly is incorrect. Chip Kelly, incorrect. He is a guy that's gone from college, pros, college, but that is incorrect. John, thank you for playing, man. I appreciate it, sir. 913-381-0810. That question is out there available for someone to call in and request. Let's go to Ryan next up on Sports Radio 810.
Pretty sure when I say he's not a tall man, he's 5'6". Pretty sure.
I don't know the man's height. I haven't been around him lately, so I'm not sure.
Are you saying I should quit asking?
Yeah, that's right, because I'm not going to tell you.
Yeah.
I'm not going to answer it.
Figured.
Let's go to Ryan next up. Ryan, sports or leisure?
Let's go with NFL, a different question.
A different, just regular NFL or the back-to-school NFL?
Regular NFL, sorry.
All right. No, you're good. Regular NFL for you. Okay, let's go with this one. Josh Allen with a historic night, you would say, against the Rams, accounting for 6 touchdowns in a loss. Who's the last player to account for 6 touchdowns but lose the game?
Six touchdowns, but loses the game.
Yep. Josh Allen ran for 3 and threw for 3, Who's the last player to have 6 touchdowns?
You're tricky, Jason.
Combining. This isn't a trick, though.
No, I know, but
it's a coincidence or ironic. I don't know what you want to call it. There is certainly a coincidental
it's like
element
rain
to it.
on your wedding day.
Yeah, which is a coincidence.
Yeah, it's ironic.
Yeah, no,
That's what I was
it's not.
going for.
It's not, though. It's just a coincidence.
Did you say any player or QB?
Well, 6 touchdowns in a game as a non-QB would be pretty legit, and that would, but this would be a quarterback that accounted for both passing and running. 6 touchdowns.
Only thing I'm thinking
losing.
of is Mahomes against the Rams. Was it him?
Mahomes against the Rams in 2018. That's the coincidental or irony that it was against the Rams, whatever you want to call
The
it.
Rams
but
both times.
That's right. Patrick Mahomes against the Rams, 6 touchdowns in a losing effort. Josh Allen, 6 touchdowns in a losing effort. Neither of those players went on to win the Super Bowl that year. On to leisure with Sterling.
We have potpourri, we have riddles, and we have Cover Me Baby, which is you got to give me some covers of some very popular songs.
Try the covers.
All right, covers. Give me the original and the cover of Knocking on Heaven's Door.
What was it again?
Knocking on Heaven's Door. Knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door. That's the cover. I'm kind of assuming with Jason right there.
We'll see, though. We gave you the OG and the cover right there in a combo. It's a real value meal. No more value in those anymore. They can't call them value meals anymore. There's no value there.
I mean, I've got Guns N' Roses, obviously.
Yes. And that was covered because the original was done by someone.
Roses and Guns.
In about 1973.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How about that? It's a good year, I've been told. I can't give you any hints on this. It's music, so I'm going to sit this one out.
Bob Dylan was the original.
Yes, it was.
There you go. Got a movie coming out, though.
I always say,
what do you say?
Taylor Swift is the new Bob Dylan.
Is that right?
Yeah, good songwriter, but I don't need to hear it.
You just said that in Kansas City. Oh my gosh! How dare you, Sterling? How dare you? That's a winner, right? Because that's Patrick Mahomes and Taylor Swift. Oh, excuse me, Bob Dylan. Ryan, we will put you on hold and get your information. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. 913-381-0810 is the phone number. We go to Avery next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Avery, we've got back to school, different questions than they're already out there, NFL for you, or border war basketball ones.
He
what
didn't
are you
say
thinking?
if he wanted sports or leisure first.
I know, but I'm just saying.
Let him pick.
If he were to pick sports and back to school, I'll give him a question that's not out there already. But Avery, what side do you want to start with?
I'm going to do a triple Lindy and say Nick Saban.
Like I said, a back-to-school question. You want one of those fresh ones?
No.
Yeah, it's Nick Saban, who...
he's 5'6". I thought that was going to help people. Yeah, he's
so quit asking.
Yeah.
I'm not going to answer it. Went from college to the pros, back to college, won 2 national championships, one at LSU, one at Alabama, 2 years in the NFL, choosing the wrong free agent quarterback. You remember who he chose? Remember who he chose?
Culpepper over Drew Brees.
Yep. And Drew Brees told the story, which is crazy. Drew Brees wanted to go to Miami. That was his preferred destination because Katrina had just hit New Orleans, and so he didn't know what that would be like and having to go there and maybe feel like you got to be a savior of a franchise. So we went to Miami and didn't even meet with Nick Saban. All they did was have their doctors with him the whole time, going through tests because he tore his shoulder up, going through tests and everything, and then left Miami like, what the hell? Went to New Orleans, didn't see one doctor, spent the entire day building an offense with Sean Payton together, and said, I don't give a bleep where the city is. I'm playing for Sean Payton. And they won a Super Bowl together. And Nick Saban got Dante Culpepper. And 2 years is at Alabama. How different would sports be if Drew Brees went to Miami? He wouldn't have gone. I mean, you're more successful than with Dante Culpepper. You're not going to Alabama just a couple years later. Anyway, over to leisure with Sterling right now.
We have Cover Me Baby, we have riddles, and we have potpourri.
Let's do Cover Me Baby.
All right, Cover Me Baby. We'll go with, I love this song. Just listened to it today.
You love a song? That narrows it down.
Yes. Come Together.
Right now
together.
or later?
By the Beatles?
That's one.
The Beatles.
What era are you thinking for the other one?
It's about 80s.
Any of the others?
This band was from the 70s to now. Very, very popular.
Oh, yeah. Aerosmith did one?
Yes, Aerosmith. Yep.
Oh, really? Any other covers?
That's all I know.
That's all you know. I didn't know if there were others or not. Yeah, other covers. I had no idea.
Actually, I could have said "Back in the Saddle," which is Aerosmith's song, which is covered by
the Beatles,
Sebastian Bach.
Oh,
yeah.
Sorry.
Didn't do that one. That was too much of a deep cut. But congratulations,
Avery. We'll put you on hold. Get your information. You get to talk to Dylan for a little bit.
That is
Hey, thanks a lot, guys.
Yep.
That's the biggest congratulations is getting to talk to Dylan.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
I'm surprised people don't call in to not play the game, but just talk to Dylan, ask how his day's going.
How you doing, Dylan? Like, what have you been up to, man? God, I never know what he's doing. What are you doing? Dylan, the Meatloaf. Let's go to Brian next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Brian, sports or leisure, what side would you like to start with, sir?
Let's start with sports.
All right, we got back to school. We got some border war left over from last week and some general NFL questions.
Let's try back to school one more time.
All right, back to school. All right, let's go with this one. This man was retired from the NFL when he took his coaching job in college. His head coaching jobs were in the East and Midwest, but he went back closer to his home with his college choice. Coaching in the Conference of Champions, never won 8 games. He never won more than 8 games. 2 different times in his 4 years. He couldn't get over the hump. Sorry, I'm going to start over. He won. I don't know why I put never in there. Sorry. He won. He won 8 games.
I'm confused, Jason.
I got it. Coaching in the Conference of Champions. He won 8 games 2 different times in his 4 years. Couldn't get over the hump. Even with the 2024 Offensive Rookie of the Year on his team before transferring to LSU. If he was still at the school, he'd now be in the Big 12, but probably not the success that this school is having this year participating in the playoffs.
Did he used to coach for the Kansas City Chiefs?
He did.
Herm Edwards.
Herm Edwards at Arizona State. That is correct, sir. Well done. Herm Edwards is correct. And now they're in the college football playoff. He set the tone.
Yeah.
For Dillingham. Without Herm, you have no Kenny.
Took time.
Exactly right. Nick is going to set the stage for Steve.
And he set it for Jaden Daniels to be a good NFL quarterback.
That's right. He developed Jaden to go to LSU and for them just to, oh, cool, Brian Kelly, you got Jaden Daniels that was already developed. Jaden Daniels is the same quarterback now that he was that Herm Edwards created. That's all I'm saying. Over to leisure with Sterling.
Should have gone to Mizzou. Cover me, baby. Riddles and potpourri.
He did go to Mizzou, and it wasn't great for Mizzou that
cover
day.
me, baby.
Okay, cover me, baby. We'll go with one from the other day.
Okay.
Crossroads.
Well, you could go several ways with
Bone
that.
Thugs and Harmony.
Robert Johnson's the original.
Correct. Robert Johnson is the original. There have been a lot of covers of this song.
I'm going to go Cream.
Yes,
Cream.
Yeah.
Cream is Crossroads is awesome.
Yeah, Cream is probably my favorite cover of that song too. John Mayer did a good one, but Cream is that's probably my favorite one as well.
Sweet.
What about Bone Thugs and Harmony?
No, we're talking Cream. We're talking about also in the White Room.
You said Crossroads.
In the
Meet me
White
at the
Room
crossroads,
with
won't be
black
lonely.
curtains.
And miss my Uncle Charles.
No.
Disraeli Gears is an incredible album.
Yeah,
I agree. That was an incredible album by Bone. That is a winner, and maybe pizza dinner. Who knows? Whatever you want to have there at Johnny's Tavern. $25 heading your way. Brian, we'll put you on hold. Get your information. Congratulations, sir.
Thanks, guys.
Absolutely. 913-381-810. Let's take a timeout. Come back. We continue playing sports or leisure. Those on hold, stay there. We'll get to you right after the break. We got NFL. We've got back to school, and we have some border war basketball. We got some covers. We got some potpourri. All that still to come with $25 at Johnny's Tavern on the line for sports or leisure on a Thursday. Bill Belichick, addressing the media today in his introductory press conference, announced the first hiring of Freddie Kitchens, the interim North Carolina head coach that he's retaining and keeping on staff, who's worked in college in the NFL and Belichick's close with.
Is he in your questions, Freddie Kitchens?
No, he is not.
Oh.
He is not. Also asked from one of the reporters to Bill Belichick, why keep coaching? His answer was, it's better than working. So what I'm hearing is Bill Belichick wants to go to college and doesn't want to work. He doesn't want to work, which is man, I'll tell you what, the guy's just going to be collecting a check. Not good. Not good. Oh, no, I know what he was saying. So Bill Belichick introduced as the North Carolina head coach. Not the HBC, that was Spurrier, but the head coach at North Carolina. Let's go to the phone lines. 913-3-810-810 is the phone number to play a little sports or leisure. We have general NFL questions. We have back-to-school questions about NFL coaches, college coaches, coaching in both, and then some left over from last week's Border War basketball if somebody is feeling the desire for that. Leisure?
We have riddles, potpourri, and Cover Me Baby, which, again, give me the cover and the original.
Here we go. Let's go to Shane, who's next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Shane, sports or leisure, what side would you like to start with?
Let's start with sports.
All right, we got general NFL, back to school, and Border War.
And I think I'll do another back to school.
All right, back to school. This one's kind of wordy as well, so here we go. This guy helped lead the emergence of one of college football's biggest brands right now, going from a nice team to now perennial national championship contender, including the college football playoff this year. Went 46-7 in his 4 years there, got the opportunity in the NFL. Multiple teams wanting him because of his new age offense. He took over for one of the greatest coaches in NFL history, and his 3 years went from winning the division to leaving for another head coaching job in the NFL before he was fired after only 1 year, winning 2 games and being replaced by a guy who's now gone to 2 Super Bowls at that spot. He also returned to college at a Power 5 school in the Pac-12 and became one of the few coaches ever to leave a Power 5 school as a head coach to be an offensive coordinator at another Power 5 school, but at least he gets to be a part of a staff in the college football playoffs this year. That was a lot.
Wow.
That was a lot.
I pretty much know this, though.
Pretty much gave you the biography of this man and where he was at, and then 2 different stints. And
I think that I don't. Sometimes when it seems so obvious, I just want to blurt it out here. Let me think about it. Got to be. I'm trying to think of his last name. I can think of his first name.
What was his first name?
I think it's. Oh, no, I got it. Is it Chip Kelly?
It's Chip Kelly. That's
Yes,
right.
it is.
Chip Kelly, Oregon to Philly, to leaving to take the San Francisco 49ers job, to winning 2 games, to he and the GM being fired, Balky, on the same day, to being replaced by Shanahan, who has gone to a couple of Super Bowls since then. He was replaced, Chip Kelly was replaced twice in Philly and then San Francisco by coaches that went to the Super Bowl. Doug Peterson and then Shanahan. And now he's the offensive coordinator at Ohio State. Over to leisure with Sterling.
We have Cover Me Baby, riddles, and potpourri.
Sterling, cover me, baby.
I will cover you, baby.
All right.
Love.
Oh, he loves this song.
one.
Hey, you know what, Shane, he loves this song.
He does.
Like Mikey. Hey, guys, he likes it.
Turn the page.
Okay.
I love the cover of this one a lot.
I think this is the one. Now I got to think about this cover. The original.
Dylan, you got
it.
Dylan got it right. Yeah, okay. Very good. Very good.
Bob Seger.
Yes, correct. Bob Seger's the OG.
We would have accepted Corey Seager too. This is a sports show.
I'm trying to think. I think, no offense to you, but I think this is the one that I don't like. I don't like the cover. Some of these new bands that are doing these covers, I'm not. Maybe it means I'm old, Sterling.
Well, if this is a new cover, I got news for you. This came out probably in the 90s.
Well, if it's a new cover, then it would be a cover, and it would still count. So.
Now then, I guess I'm thinking of a different cover.
Well, that's right.
Okay,
If it's a cover,
it might still be right, but the one I'm thinking of is one from 1998.
Very popular band.
Oh yeah. No, this one's actually okay. You're right. Now I'm thinking of these guys. So Metallica covered that.
Correct. Yeah, Metallica. Were you thinking of didn't Five Finger Death Punch or something cover it?
No, I was thinking of a different 70s song. That there's they're doing a lot of covers these days. Some of these new rock bands, and I just don't like them.
Oh, I'm with
you.
you.
A totally different song.
I'm with
no,
you.
that Metallica one's good. You're right. I agree with you there.
Thank you. Thank
Well
you.
done. And you know what? Shane Sterling really loves that song. Really loves it. So I'm glad we don't have many songs that he hates on covers or one-hit wonders.
Well, I
and
pick
things like
songs that I like.
Oh,
Sorry.
that's weird.
Sorry about
It's weird.
Well,
Shane.
I love music. I love music like you, Sterling. So I
See,
appreciate
there you go.
The
You guys-
categories.
Awesome.
Kindred spirits. There you go. Shane, we'll put you on hold, get your information. Congratulations, sir.
Thanks, guys.
Absolutely. 913-388-1010. Another winner right there. Let's go to Kirk. Next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Kirk, sports or leisure, what side would you like to start with?
I guess we'll start with sports. General NFL.
General NFL for you. We don't have one that is out there already. We've only had one, and that was answered correctly. So let's go with this one. Oh, this is kind of fun. Travis Kelce now has 171 consecutive games with a reception. That's the second longest active streak in the NFL. Who is the only player to have a longer active streak than Travis Kelce? DeAndre Hopkins,
right?
that's right. Nuke. D-Hop has 175. Does Kelce tackle Hopkins or something to break that streak so he can eventually break the streak?
Just knock it out of his hands.
Yes, exactly. Just he chases DeAndre the whole game. Just the whole game.
Face guards him.
That's exactly right.
Well, we might have CB2 figured out then if that's the case.
Good call. Over to leisure with Sterling. DeAndre Hopkins, by the way, DeAndre Hopkins is at 175, so he's 4 games ahead of Kelce right now.
What was that?
Sorry.
So I've been enjoying these covers. Hopefully you still got some classic rock ones.
All right. That wouldn't be classic rock. This is a good one, though, because this might be known as the best cover.
And Kirk, this is a song he loves.
I love this cover.
Awesome.
Well, I have an idea for the best cover, but you go ahead.
It's up there. Smooth Criminal.
Oh, yeah, of course, that's Michael Jackson, and that 90s band was Alien Ant Farm?
Yes,
Well
Alien
done,
Ant
dude.
Farm, one of the most underrated bands of that era. They always get put in this because of this song. Only people think of them from this. But their entire catalog was outstanding. That first album was electric. Love Alien Ant Farm.
So was Michael Bolton. I mean, I celebrate the guy's entire catalog. What's the cover that you say is the best one?
I was hoping for All Along the Watchtower.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. Did you love that song, Sterling? You love that?
That's a great one.
You love that. You love that.
I
song.
love Jimi Hendrix, of course.
Right, I know. Kirk, we'll put you on hold. Get your information. Congratulations, sir. Well done.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely. 913-381-1010. But we are just handing out Johnny's gift cards like candy canes on Christmas Eve.
We're generous this holiday
That's
season.
exactly right. I mean, my goodness. My back to schools are getting beaten down. Should I write 3 paragraphs in the question about each coach? Does that give away a little too much?
You didn't need the Shanahan aspect of it. It was Chip Kelly because you could have just said the offensive part and everything. Oh, yeah, Chip Kelly.
Tried to reinvent the wheel in the NFL and new training regimens and all of that stuff, and the players ended up hating him, and then he traded away LaShawn McCoy and
barbecue, baked.
That's right, for some for some Oregon players that he coached when they were in college. All that
Ruffles,
stuff.
Chips.
Right. Chips Kelly, Hank Kelly. Let's go to Tim next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Tim, sports or leisure? What side do you want to start with?
Let's do sports.
All right, we got general NFL. We have one more back to school. We have some left over from the Board of War basketball.
I just recently tuned in. Can you refresh me? I heard about Chip Kelly, but who else has been the correct answers thus far?
We've had one about Herm Edwards. We've had one about Jim Harbaugh. We've had one about Nick Saban. We've got one more left over in this category.
All right, let's go.
All right. Another national championship winning coach that went from college to the pros and then back to college. Won a national championship in college, but after falling short at that level the next 5 years, took his talents to the NFL, lasted only 2 years with a 12-20 record, resigned after 2 years, took a year off before returning to college. In the same conference he left, actually coaching 11 more years and played for a conference championship while he was there. Never coached a Heisman winner like he was.
Like he was. the coach was a Heisman winner?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, was that a
Yes.
yes?
Yep, sorry. Yes, I know you're listening on the phone, and
all
I'm just
right.
I'm
Oh,
just sitting
man.
here like you're sitting next to me right now.
He stared at me and was
I'm talking
nodding
to you.
his head.
I'm talking to you like my daughter would talk to me when I ask her a question. Yes. No, speak up. Speak up.
What era? I'm thinking this is not recent.
He played for. Let's just say. I mean, he played for he won a national championship this century in college.
Oh, okay.
Right? I think that national championship was this. He didn't win the Heisman this century. No, the national championship was in the 90s. Never mind, because he coached a quarterback that should have been the Heisman Trophy winner at Florida. Oh, good God. There you go.
Oh,
Just
thanks.
giving it away. Who should have been the Heisman Trophy winner over the Lifetime Achievement Award to Eric Crouch. But anyway, so there you go.
Don't go against my boy Eric. All right.
Sorry. Eric seems like a fine dude. Steve Spurrier, yes. Steve Spurrier, Jesus. Yeah, but he didn't coach a Heisman winner at South Carolina or when he was with Washington in the pros. Please tell me who that is.
You didn't have a Pete Carroll in there?
Jesus, man.
You didn't have a Pete Carroll?
I mean, I could come up with one. Now I can come up with a Pete Carroll. If somebody asks for another one,
The holidays.
I'll come
It's
up.
the holiday season, and you do these to people when you go door to door.
You Pete them?
Carols.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I didn't know.
I hope you don't Pete them.
I don't know what you do on your door-to-door holiday season, Sterling. It's not my business, and I'm going to stay out of your personal life. That was the first one over to Leisure with Sterling.
We have Cover Me Baby, which are the cover and the OG. We have Riddles, and we have Potpourri.
Ooh, I wanted the Cover Me Baby, but some of these are more obscure to me. But you picked them, right, Sterling? So they're
He loves them.
mostly
He loves all the
rock
songs.
Genre.
They're every genre.
I'm playing the odds. You only have to get one right on Potpourri, so let's go there instead.
All right, well, going to Potpourri.
Good call.
Ooh. I like this one.
Can't believe I said Florida. Was that Florida? You should have had a Heisman Trophy.
Do you
winner,
watch
Florida.
any movies like at all? Maybe like in like the late 80s?
Yeah, all the time.
Okay, very famous movie. Okay. Hans Gruber was the villain in what movie?
It's a great Christmas movie.
Best Christmas movie.
One of my
some say.
favorite Christmas movies.
Not McGruber, but Hans Gruber.
Gruber!
Yeah. I can just see things blowing up right before my eyes. All right.
By the way, for the text, I know he coached a Heisman winner in the 90s. I was meaning he didn't coach a Heisman winner at South Carolina. Anyway. He should have had another Heisman winner that would have gotten the award if it wasn't for the Lifetime Achievement Award for Eric Crouch. Anyway, Tim, sorry.
You're telling me in that Leo Tolstoy novel you wrote about Steve Spurrier
I didn't include Danny Warfel in the 90s winning the
That's
Heisman.
crazy.
And Rex Grossman not. Anyway.
Hans Gruber. Oh.
Great Christmas movie.
Gee whiz. I should know this.
You know, it's one of the
Yippee-ki-yay.
It's one of the lesser known plazas.
Yippee-ki-yay, am I right, Dylan?
I thought that wasn't going to get heard.
Right, I know, yeah.
That was almost as bad as saying Florida.
I mean, it's close. It's
but
close.
the fact that he hasn't gotten it off that is
Yeah.
surprising.
Yes.
Dang it.
Hmm.
And it was an 80s movie.
Oh, yeah, Christmas movie.
Wasn't a remake, was it?
Nope.
Well, no, it hasn't been remade, but they have certainly had some movies after this.
Yeah, this is the first. This is
was
the OG.
first
This
of
was
many.
First of a series. Again.
First of a series, yep.
There was a bald guy in it.
You could say the series did exactly what the title of the movie was.
Ayo.
I'm just saying.
Reginald Vell Johnson was a cop in it.
Was he?
I don't know. I better go with something because you're going to clock me in.
He's clocking you. He's clocking you right now.
Let's see. Home Alone?
No, that's not his real answer. That's just his first answer.
What if Hans Gruber was?
That'd be
that guy
pretty
in Home
good,
Alone? That'd
yeah.
be awesome, man. Marv.
Oh, man. Live soft.
Or... Oh, man, the buzzer comes in with a vengeance.
I hear you.
Tim,
I deserved it.
all right, Tim, thank you for playing, man. I appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Absolutely. We'll need to take a time out. We'll come back. More zone, right? People can think about that for a little bit.
Yeah, they can hang on that little
Yeah,
morsel.
I'm pretty sure that everybody listening, I don't think they need to wait through the commercial break to find out what the answer is to that one. A great Christmas movie. More zone next. Plaza. You know. Like, I didn't have any questions. We did not get answers to. You didn't like that one? Yeah, I didn't like it either. So that's why I doubled down on it. So I got a 2-7 offsuit. All in, baby. All in. Let's go.
Cover Me Baby was popular. I got to bring that back, I guess, next week.
You should. Back to School was popular. Apparently, I need to have more coaches that I accidentally say the colleges that they were coaching for.
You still have.
There are no more coaches ever.
Pete Carroll.
There are no more coaches ever that coached in the NFL in college. There was only 5 of them. I've exhausted the entire list, Sterling.
Pete
Of course, I
Carroll.
still have. There's lots of coaches out there.
Andy Reid.
Andy Reid was not a head coach in college.
Didn't say head coach. You
It
said
did
coach.
say, but that's the point of the covers. Oh, okay, so it's a cover of Bone Thugs and Harmony did a cover of Crossroads.
Different.
Oh, so it's got to be the cover of the actual, not just the name of
You
the
know
song.
what? Fine, we'll count it.
Yeah, no, there's other coaches. I may bring that back next week.
Bill O'Brien.
I may bring that
I'm
back.
just going to give them all away now.
Yeah, you should. You should just give them all away. Bill Callahan.
Weeb Eubank.
Weeb Eubank, huh?
New York Jets 60s coach and the
Yeah.
Baltimore Colts as well.
Wait,
Yes.
Callahan? Callahan Auto Parts?
Big Tom Callahan.
Yeah.
Big Tom Callahan.
That's right. I make car parts for the American working man because that's who I am and that's who I care about.
You can get a good look at
a bull by sticking your head up a butcher's. But wouldn't you rather just take the bull's word for it? No, wait, that's got to be your bull. All right, so those are the answers. Sports or leisure, $25, Johnny's Tavern. Thank you to Johnny's Tavern and those that won today. We've got coming your way tonight a little Thursday night football on the docket with a good one in the NFC West, Rams and 49ers. 49ers, little rest. Rams going through that game against the Bills. You know what really from that game is, the Bills running all those plays and how that was while the Lions played last Thursday. Maybe the Lions should win this weekend. I think the Lions should win. But we'll see. We got that game for you tonight. Rams 49ers right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Check it out also on 103.7.